Chapter 220. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That night, Night Sorrow was very enthusiastic about training. After waking up in the morning, he went to train his improved spear art. His arms trembled to change the trajectory of his spear art. Combined with his body movement, his spear art was already suitable for close combat. After training for a while, Night Sorrow stopped and ate the dishes made by Sikong Chuyu. You feel different? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. There's nothing different. Let's eat. Eat more. You eat so little every meal. Night Sorrow said as he picked up some food for Sikong Chuyu. Do you think I'm a pig? I'm already in the 4th rank. I don't need food. What I'm doing now is just training my body and mind to prepare for my breakthrough. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. I'm stupid. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Don't say that about yourself. You're the only one other than my parents who picked up food for me. I'm very happy. Sikong Chuyu looked at his bowl and sighed. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He continued to pick up food for Sikong Chuyu. After eating, Night Sorrow was about to leave. After all, the appointment at Tianji Tower was a big deal. He couldn't ignore it. Sikong Chuyu helped Night Sorrow tidy up his clothes. Finish your business and come back early. Night Sorrow nodded. He got on Tianyu's back and flew towards Danding City. Night Sorrow left Taishian Peak. A figure also left. Hashtag only BEC Jingji. Version HQ, NH, V. He versus both are pirates sitting cross-legged on Tianyu's back. Night Sorrow began to train. He didn't want to waste time. When he was 1,000 li away from Pill Cauldron Mountain, Night Sorrow did not notice that a flying demonic beast had appeared on the side of the mountain and was chasing after him. It was a high-level golden-eyed sparrow. Its speed was extremely fast, and it quickly caught up to Tianyu and blocked his path. With a cry, Tianyu circled around and was about to attack. Night Sorrow, you better not resist. Don't force me to kill you, the middle-aged man standing on the golden-eyed sparrow said. Su Chenbai, are you really going to betray Medicine Valley? Night Sorrow restrained Tianyu and asked. Haha. I am a direct descendant of the Su family of the Golden Flame sect. I am a member of the Golden Flame sect. How can I be a traitor? Your Medicine Valley is blind, Su Chenbai said with a laugh. Then you're going to attack me. Come on. Night Sorrow waved his hand and 4 sky-piercing spears appeared in his hand. Since you're going to resist, I won't keep you alive. Su Chenbai rose into the air and left the golden-eyed sparrow. He stood in the air and slapped at Night Sorrow. I knew you would do something like this. Since you have admitted that you are from the Golden Flame sect, I won't keep you any longer. A figure appeared in front of Yishang. His left hand made a circle while his right hand sent out a palm strike. This person was none other than Medicine Valley's venerable, Hua Yunpeng. Bang! With a muffled sound, Su Chenbai's body was sent flying back and vomited blood. After flying for half a meter, his body seemed to be blocked by something and bounced back. You dare to leave Medicine Valley? Aren't you afraid that you'll be killed by the venerable of the Golden Flame sect without the protection of your spiritual weapon? Su Chenbai roared as he vomited blood. Su Huantian doesn't have the ability to kill me. You'll die first. Hua Yunpeng slapped again. An energy vortex visible to the naked eye fell directly on Su Chenbai's head, who was unable to dodge. The energy vortex blew up Su Chenbai's head and his headless body fell to the ground. Hua Yunpeng flicked his finger and blew up Su Chenbai's right hand. Then, he took back the storage ring. Love go little say W, Chu then, he waved his right hand and captured the huge golden-eyed sparrow. You should be safe now. I'll give you the storage ring when you return to the sect. I'll check if there's anything related to the Golden Flame sect in it, Hua Yunpeng said as he held the storage ring. Thank you, Grand Elder, for saving my life. I have the storage ring, Night Sorrow said as he bowed. That's all. You can go about your business. Hua Yunpeng said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow cupped his fists at Hua Yunpeng and continued flying on Tianyu. He felt lucky. If Hua Yunpeng hadn't followed him, it would have been very difficult for him to escape. In fact, it would have been impossible for him to escape. When he reached Danding City, Night Sorrow went directly to Yang Lei's residence. What he didn't know was that Hua Yunpeng had been watching Night Sorrow and only left after he entered Danding City. He was really worried about Night Sorrow's safety. Night Sorrow didn't see Yang Lei. After asking Qiushu to arrange for someone to feed Tianyu, he went to Tianji Tower. When he found out that the people who were supposed to go to Tianji Tower had not arrived, he went to the city lord's residence to see Yang Lei. Yang Lei was very happy to see Night Sorrow. She told Bai Qingshan and Ao Yushan about the matter and dragged Night Sorrow to a restaurant for a drink. After listening to Night Sorrow's account of Su Chenbai's attempt to kill him, Yang Lei's face was filled with murderous intent. I didn't expect this guy to be a direct descendant of the Golden Flame sect. How shameless. But that's good. After killing him, the Golden Flame sect can only swallow their pride. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that this matter was a huge blow to the Golden Flame sect. Currently, the Medicine Valley had the Venerable One and the Southern Dipper sect as their allies. They could only endure it. After eating, Yang Lei took Night Sorrow for a stroll on the street before returning to the residence. 13. You have to be careful in the future. There are too many people who want to kill you. If you're not careful, you'll be in danger. Yang Lei was a little worried about Night Sorrow's safety. I will. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. He needed to stabilize his Jin Qi cultivation at the 9th level of element gathering tier and his cultivation at the 7th level of muscle strengthening tier. The night passed. Night Sorrow woke up early to cultivate his spear art. Sikong Chuyu told Night Sorrow that his spear art was currently equivalent to a 3rd rank battle skill. It was infinitely close to a 4th rank battle skill. The 2nd rank wind chasing spear art was on a completely different level from the wind chasing spear art, which had the power of vibration. As Night Sorrow cultivated, a few disciples of Yang Lei watched from the side. They all knew about Night Sorrow's achievements. Night Sorrow, who had joined the sect only 1 year earlier than them, was like a legend in their eyes. In just 1 year, there was a huge gap between them, a gap that was impossible to catch up with. At noon, a staff member of Tianji Tower came to invite Night Sorrow. Seeing the staff member of Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow knew that the higher-ups of Tianjin Tower should have arrived. Next, he just had to see what arrangements Tianjin Tower would make. Don't be nervous. Whether you're a talent or not, you need to be evaluated by others. But you have to know that even if others don't know, it's still gold, Yang Lei said. She was worried that Night Sorrow would be nervous. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile and followed the staff member of Tianji Tower out of the residence. He was indeed not nervous. He knew that even if Tianjin Tower wasn't sure and couldn't get the black eye, he would definitely be able to enter the core condensation tier. The only difference was time. Chapter 221. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Enforcer Dong opened the door, and Night Sorrow saw 2 black-robed men. One was sitting and drinking tea, while the other was standing in front of the window with his back facing him. Night Sorrow recognized that one of them was the man who sponsored him. Although both of them were wearing half-masks, Night Sorrow could distinguish their temperament and aura. The man who was spinning the teacup in his hand was someone Yi Shang had seen once before. As for the other person, Yi Shang had never seen him before. When he turned around, half of his face was covered in silver. All right, Enforcer Dong, you may leave. The black-robed man Night Sorrow had seen before waved his hand at Enforcer Dong. Night Sorrow greets the 2 lords. After Enforcer Dong left, Night Sorrow cupped his fists at the 2 men. I am Jiao Qing. You can call me Enforcer Jiao. This is our Eastern Profound Region's chief enforcer, Lord Yin Shui, said the black-robed man Night Sorrow had seen before. Enforcer Jiao Qing, Lord Yin Shui. Knight Sorrow cupped his fists again. Have a seat. The silver-masked man waved his robe and sat down first, then pointed at the chair opposite him. Knight Sorrow nodded and sat down. Enforcer Jiao Qing is in charge of your matters. I have nothing to do, so I came over to take a look. Aren't you nervous at all? This meeting may decide your fate. Love go little say W. Chu Yin Shui looked at Knight Sorrow again and asked. He had been watching Knight Sorrow arrive from the window. From the moment he entered Tianji Tower to the moment he sat down, Knight Sorrow had been too calm. Decide my fate? It's not that serious. Even if I'm not valued by the Celestial Terminus Tower, I'll still work hard. My senior sister said that even if Goldie is acknowledged by others, he's still Goldie, said Yishan. Well said. Jiao Qing, you didn't misjudge this time. Chief Enforcer Yin Shui clapped his hands and said. Chief Enforcer, can we begin? Jiao Qing looked at Yin Shui and asked. Let's begin. This time, I came to take a look. Yin Shui nodded. Knight Sorrow, through your performance during this time, even if you haven't entered the core condensation stage, Tianji Tower, after the decision of the enforcers, Jiao Qing announced. Thank you, enforcers of Tianji Tower. Yi Shang stood up and cupped his hands. Although he was not in a rush, he was still very happy to have received a positive answer. Okay, sit down. There are still some things I need to tell you. If you're standing, I have to look up at you. I'm at a disadvantage in terms of presence. Jiao Qing waved his hand at the chair. Jiao Qing wu Jiao Qing. Jiao Jiao Jiao. It's like this. If you become a black follower, you'll be qualified to join the Heaven's Terminus Tower. Are you willing? I'm very willing, but I still want to know what I need to do for Tianji Tower. Knight Sorrow hesitated for a moment and asked. Once a black guard enters the 4th stage, he can take on the role of patrol. Each patrol lasts for a year, and he must take on the role once every 5 years. His mission is to inspect the people in charge of the Celestial Terminus Tower and the enforcers to see if they are following the rules. In addition, he must pay attention to some secrets. But I haven't entered the core condensation stage yet. Knight Sorrow said with some embarrassment. Tianji Tower can wait, as long as you are willing. Jiao Qing said with a smile. Then I have no problem. Knight Sorrow nodded. Seeing Knight Sorrow nod, Jiao Qing took out a token and looked at Yin Shui. Chief Enforcer, it's better if you give him the inspector token. It'll look better. Yin Shui took the token and handed it to Knight Sorrow. From today onwards, you are a member of the Tianji Tower's inspectors in Eastern Profound Domain. Knight Sorrow understands. Knight Sorrow got up and took the token with both hands. Black is not the end. Keep working hard. Yin Shui said. Knight Sorrow understands. Knight Sorrow nodded. Jiao Qing then took out 5 bottles of medicinal pills. These are your cultivation resources. It should be enough for you to reach the spirit severing stage. Then I won't be polite. The medicinal pills given by Chief Enforcer last time are better. Knight Sorrow directly put away the medicinal pills. He knew that Tianji Tower didn't give out rubbish. The medicinal pills were all the best. Also, let's talk about the medicinal pill you took last time. Our Tianji Tower's alchemy master analyzed it. It can be refined, but ordinary people can't absorb it. Seeing your vigorous blood essence, you should have a special method. Jiao Qing said. It's like this. Knight Sorrow didn't hide it. Be careful. The body refining technique is too important. There will be many people coveting it. Although you have the Tianji Tower's black token, some things can't be avoided. Yin Shui said. Then Jiao Qing told Knight Sorrow that Tianji Tower had informed the major forces to retreat when they saw the Tianji Tower's inspector token, but there were still people who took the risk. Thank you, Chief Enforcer. If it wasn't inconvenient for Chief Enforcer, I would like to invite Chief Enforcer for a drink. Knight Sorrow said. You mean this? Since you are a Tianji Tower's inspector, you should know the rules of keeping secrets. The mask is meaningless. Yin Shui took off his mask. Yin Shui was a middle-aged man who looked about 35 or 36 years old. His face was white and he looked delicate. When Jiao Qing took off his mask, Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. He felt that Jiao Qing was familiar. What's wrong? Jiao Qing looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He looks familiar. Does he look like someone I've met before? Night Sorrow said. He felt that Jiao Qing and Nanjun Yuan were very similar. I don't think so. Wait, someone from the Nandis sect came to Medicine Valley a while ago. Did you meet someone from the Nandis sect? Jiao Qing asked. I've met Nanjun Yuan's hall master before, Night Sorrow said. Haha. That's my elder brother. My real name is Nanjun Qing. We are twins, but we haven't seen each other for a long time. I don't participate in the Nandis sect's affairs, Jiao Qing said with a smile. I see. No wonder you look like someone, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Sorrow took out a jar of green blood wine and poured it into a bowl. It smells good, Nanjun Qing said as he took a sniff of the wine bowl. This is good wine brewed by my 6th senior sister. I only have one jar, and I'm contributing it now, Night Sorrow said. Then, the three of them began to drink. After downing a jar of green blood wine, no one was affected. Q head, FZ, hurry up and enter Tier 4. Then, we can do missions and drink together. Those guardians and inspectors can't even drink. How boring, Jiao Qing said with a smile. I'll work hard. If there's nothing else, I'll be going back, Night Sorrow nodded. Okay, your sect will definitely ask. Black Eyes is no secret to Medicine Valley, but our identities must be kept secret. This is the rule, Jiao Qing said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understands, Night Sorrow cupped his hands. Chapter 222. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow left Tianji Tower after saluting Yin Shui and Jiao Qing. Chief Guardian, what do you think of this little guy? Jiao Qing asked as he stood by the window and watched Night Sorrow leave. Very good. He's not inferior to your niece, Nan Liyue. His weakness is that he hasn't been cultivating for long, Yin Shui said as she stretched. Chief Guardian, do you think he's comparable to my niece? Jiao Qing asked in surprise. It should be the other way around. Your niece is very talented and is stronger than Night Sorrow now because she has accumulated more in the early stage. However, as people who have been there before, we know that the key is to have enough stamina later on. Night Sorrow has the potential to become a powerhouse. He's not afraid of honor or disgrace. This is his temperament. I've seen many young people, but I've never seen anyone with a stronger temperament than him, Yin Shui said. What I'm thinking now is what kind of cultivation method this guy is cultivating to be able to cultivate himself to the point where his blood and qi are surging. I feel like there's a ferocious beast in his body, Jiao Qing said after thinking for a while. If he doesn't have a special ability, how could he get first place on the Yuan ranking board of Medicine Valley in the middle stage of element gathering? No matter how bad the disciples of Medicine Valley are, they're not sheep, Yin Shui said with a smile. His ability to fight above his level is too strong. Look at the process of his missions. He's always fighting above his level. Even the disciples of Golden Flame sect couldn't fight back. Love go little say net, Chu Jiao Qing nodded. That's why the current cultivation level is nothing. If the cultivation level is low, it can be cultivated. However, not everyone can have the ability to fight above their level, Yin Shui said. Jiao Qing nodded. He knew that he had good taste, but Yin Shui's taste was even sharper. Night Sorrow was very happy when he returned to Yang Lei's mansion. Did you succeed? Yang Lei asked. Yes, it's a success. Night Sorrow took out his Tianji Tower patrol token and showed it to Night Sorrow. Really? You're too fierce. You haven't even reached Tier 3, yet you already have the Tianji Tower's inspector token, Yang Lei said excitedly. Give me some resources as well. Night Sorrow took out some pills and began studying them. After studying for a while, Night Sorrow was very satisfied. Jiao Qing gave all the best spirit congealing pills, which was enough for Night Sorrow to cultivate to the 4th order. That's enough. Not bad indeed. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow enviously. She had worked hard in the past, but she had never met the requirements of Tianji Tower. She hadn't entered the purple circle, and she wasn't willing to be a peripheral member. That's great. You are a direct member of Tianji Tower. The Golden Flame sect won't dare to easily carry out the dragon-slaying plan on you, Yang Lei said excitedly. Didn't you say that the members of Tianji Tower are secrets? Didn't I leak it? Night Sorrow said. That's nothing. The Eastern Profound Domain is very vast. When you officially take office, you won't necessarily take office in the Medicine Valley area. At that time, you have to pay attention to keeping your identity secret, Yang Lei said to Night Sorrow. Well, then I understand. Ninth Senior Sister, I plan to go to the Longquan Courtyard and take Silver Fox to the Bamboo Forest Peak, Night Sorrow said. I'll go with you, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow knew that this was Yang Lei's kindness, so he didn't refuse. The two of them left the mansion. It's not far. Let's sit on my blue condor. Yang Lei released the blue condor and said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and followed Yang Lei to land on the back of the green condor. Then, they flew towards the Longquan Courtyard. Senior Sister, the Dragon Spring Courtyard is suitable for cultivation. You should stay in the Dragon Spring Courtyard. Don't stay in that mansion. Your mansion is grand and luxurious, but it has a stifling aura, said Night Sorrow. If you're not in the Dragon Spring Courtyard, there's no point in me going. Yang Lei shook her head. Yang Lei shook her head. Night Sorrow didn't know how to answer Yang Lei's words. He also liked the Dragon Spring Courtyard, but Sikong Chuyu's safety was a problem. Yun Xia and Chuyu had both been to the Dragon Spring Courtyard, so it wasn't very safe. He was reluctant to leave Sikong Chuyu alone in the Bamboo Forest Peak, but he also felt uncomfortable when he saw Yang Lei like this. For some reason, Night Sorrow's heart ached. Senior Sister, are you happy to be the city lord? Night Sorrow asked. Yes, I really don't want to be the city lord. At that time, we were all in the Dragon Spring Courtyard. That was the happiest time. Yang Lei sighed. Didn't Master say that you can leave everything to your subordinates? You don't have to do it yourself. Night Sorrow said. Yang Lei rubbed her forehead and said, Usually, I can, but there have been too many things happening recently. The problem with the Golden Flames sect has been solved, but 2 more groups of people have appeared in Danding City. Their cultivation bases are very high, but we still can't figure out where they came from. We don't know where they came from, so we sent people to investigate. They're not from this area. Let's stabilize the situation first. When the situation is stable, we'll go find Master and give up the city lord position. Night Sorrow didn't want to see Yang Lei unhappy. If the situation is stable, then there's nothing to do as the city lord. I'll be free. It's because the situation isn't stable that I'm frustrated. Yang Lei put her hand on his shoulder and said. Night Sorrow patted Yang Lei's back, but he didn't know how to comfort her. Don't worry. Your 9th senior sister isn't that weak. I can handle this kind of thing. I just don't like it. Yang Lei said with a smile. Soon, the two of them arrived at Longquan Courtyard. Night Sorrow came down, and the green condor and the silver fox cub appeared. They directly jumped onto Night Sorrow's shoulder and seemed to be very affectionate. Make some wine and dishes. I want to drink with 9th senior sister. Night Sorrow said to Hai Luo, and Luo Wei made tea for Night Sorrow and Yang Lei. 13. When I think about you being the inspector of Tianji Tower in the future and having to leave Medicine Valley, I feel uncomfortable. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said. 9th senior sister, don't worry. I'll bring ninth senior sister with me wherever I go. How about that? But when that time comes, ninth senior sister won't be able to be the city lord. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Bullsh *t. Do you think I like being the city lord? The city lord is worthless in my eyes. Yang Lei glared at Night Sorrow and said. Then I understand. I know. Night Sorrow nodded and said. Square root h yong p geo free *. Look at the little girl. Yi Shang knew his own situation. He would have to go out sooner or later. Putting aside the matter of the celestial terminus citadel, Sikong Chuyu's matter required him to go to the Qingtian region. In addition, he had to find his family. Night Sorrow usually didn't talk about looking for his family, but this matter had always been in his heart. Who didn't have parents? Who didn't miss them? Besides, Night Sorrow knew that something must have happened to his family. Otherwise, when Father Gu found him, it wouldn't have been so tragic. What are you thinking about? Don't frown so much at such a young age. Yang Lei reached out and knocked on Night Sorrow's head. After the dishes were served, Yi Shang opened the wine and the two of them began to drink from their bowls. Night Sorrow was really happy. Joining Tianji Tower was equivalent to opening a door. It would be much more convenient for him to go out in the future. However, Yang Lei wasn't. She was in a bad mood and directly drank too much. Looking at the drunk Yang Lei, Night Sorrow helped her to the room to rest. As soon as they entered the room, Yang Lei vomited all over her skirt. Chapter 223. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After placing Yang Lei on the bed, Night Sorrow reached out and took off Yang Lei's combat boots. After hesitating for a moment, Night Sorrow reached out and unbuckled Yang Lei's belt. Then, he took off Yang Lei's outer skirt and carried Yang Lei, who was wearing only her underwear, to the bed. Then, he covered Yang Lei with a blanket. Holding Yang Lei's dirty skirt, Night Sorrow washed it and hung it outside the attic. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow returned to his room to cultivate. He originally planned to leave with Silver Fox, but now that Yang Lei's condition was not good, he could not leave directly. After cultivating for a whole night, Night Sorrow woke up early to cultivate his spear skills. After cultivating for a while, he heard Yang Lei shout. What's going on? 13, come here. Night Sorrow put away his spear and went to the attic where Yang Lei lived. Ninth senior sister, why are you still calling for me? I asked Tai Luo, and they said that you were the one who sent me back last night. They weren't the ones who took off my clothes. At this moment, Yang Lei was only wearing a pink tight-fitting bra, and her beautiful figure was in full view. Yes, ninth senior sister. You drank too much last night. I helped you back. You vomited on your body, so I helped you take it off and wash it. Night Sorrow walked over and took down the skirt that was hanging to dry. Then, he handed it to Yang Lei. You. If it was someone else, I would chop off his hand. Yang Lei blushed. She glanced at Night Sorrow and went back to her room. At this time, Night Sorrow also felt that it was inappropriate. However, he did not think so much at that time. He just felt that Yang Lei's skirt was dirty. If he did not change it, she would not be comfortable sleeping. After standing awkwardly for a while, Night Sorrow went to the side to tease the silver fox cub while watching Tianyu eat. Little Six knew that Night Sorrow was coming back, so he bought the corpses of demonic beasts early and roasted them to feed Tianyu. First 9 shots after Tianyu finished eating, Night Sorrow planned to leave. He was too embarrassed to see Yang Lei. When Night Sorrow was about to leave, Yang Lei came over. Are you going back? Yes, ninth senior sister. I'm sorry. I didn't think too much. Night Sorrow lowered his head and said. I'm not blaming you. It's just that when I woke up this morning and saw that my clothes were gone, I got a little anxious. Knowing that it was junior brother, I won't get angry anymore. When Yang Lei woke up in the morning, she found that her clothes were untidy and her chest was exposed. She didn't know that it was caused by her rolling in her sleep, so she was anxious. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs. Com nodding to Yang Lei, Night Sorrow got on Tianyu's back and left. Seeing Night Sorrow leave, Yang Lei's blushing face showed a smile. At this time, Night Sorrow was like a deserter. However, she wasn't sure if Night Sorrow saw anything. Sitting on Tianyu's back, Night Sorrow suddenly remembered what Yang Lei said. She said that there were strangers in Danding City, and they were experts. Thinking of this, Night Sorrow returned to Longquan Courtyard. Why are you back? Can't bear to leave ninth senior sister? Yang Lei asked with a smile. I heard from ninth senior sister that there are some strangers in Danding City, and their cultivation is very high. Could it be related to Chuyu? Night Sorrow said. This was what he was worried about. I thought you couldn't bear to leave ninth senior sister, but it turns out that you're worried about your little lover. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said. I also can't bear to leave ninth senior sister. Night Sorrow said. What you said is very possible, so Sikong Chuyu must not come to Danding City and Longquan Courtyard. Yang Lei nodded seriously. She was joking about some things, but when it came to serious matters, she would never joke. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. They came a long way to find you, you have to take good care of them. Yang Lei reminded Night Sorrow. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. You can't leave Medicine Valley now, the alternate space is about to open. Also, you have to participate in the martial arts competition in the Golden Flame sect area. Otherwise, you can go out with Sikong. Yang Lei thought for a while and said. Night Sorrow nodded and didn't say anything. He knew about these things. After saying goodbye to Yang Lei, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu back to Bamboo Forest Peak. You're back, did it go well? Sikong Chuyu was very happy to see Night Sorrow. It went well. Night Sorrow put down the silver fox cub in his arms and took out the black token given to him by the Empyrean Terminus Tower. Patrol token, not bad, it will be more convenient in the future. You will also have less pressure. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Less pressure? They asked me to continue to work hard, saying that the black token isn't the end. Night Sorrow said with some puzzlement. Could it be? Could it be that Eastern Profound Region started the Celestial Fate project for you? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow with some astonishment, then she became excited, so excited that her face blushed. What's the Celestial Fate project? Night Sorrow asked puzzledly. Originally, this was a secret, but it doesn't exist between us. The Celestial Fate project is the core of Tianji Tower's training. Those who can pass the test of the Celestial Fate project will have a much higher status in Tianji Tower. It should be said that it's terrifyingly high. Core members such as the Chief Enforcer and Branch Leader are all selected by passing the Celestial Fate project. Not all the Chief Enforcers have passed the Celestial Fate project. As long as they are excellent, it's fine. However, branch leaders must pass the test. Sikong Chuyu said. Then I'll have to continue to work hard. Night Sorrow said. He liked this kind of challenge. Continue to work hard. If you perform well in the Celestial Fate project, you will be designated as the successor to the Chief Enforcer, Branch Leader, and so on. With Tianji Tower behind you, your growth will be much smoother. Even the major clans of Qingtian region will have to give you face. Sikong Chuyu said. My identity must be kept secret. Even if I have a high status, I still have to hide it. Night Sorrow said somewhat gloomily. Are you stupid? Your identity in Tianji Tower is hidden, but your superiors and friends can wear masks, right? Can't I give you some face? Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. So it's possible. Then I'll continue to work hard. Night Sorrow nodded. His heart was filled with motivation because this direction of hard work would bring him closer to Sikong Chuyu. Generally speaking, Tianji Tower pays attention to talents until the end of the day. The Celestial Fate project will only start when an especially excellent seedling appears. If you can perform well in the Celestial Fate project, the Golden Flame sect won't dare to touch the Medicine Valley, Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. Isn't Tianji Tower not involved in local power struggles? Night Sorrow asked, somewhat puzzled. Yes, but Tianji Tower will protect the power of its core members. If their birthplace is destroyed, who can still work in Tianji Tower with a calm mind? Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Chapter 224. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Can they? Absolutely. Tianji Tower doesn't have many core members, but they are all powerful people. For example, if you want to attack the Golden Flame sect, Tianjin Tower will send a top-level expert to kill the venerables of the Golden Flame sect. If that happens, will the Golden Flame sect still have a foothold in the Eastern Xian domain? Sikong Chuyu asked with a smile. A genuine cent, indeed, this is the real way to kill the leader. Night Sorrow nodded. Tianjin Tower didn't need a lot of people. They only needed top-level experts to be a deterrent. Of course. If Tianjin Tower wants to attack the Golden Flame sect, they will send a top-level expert to kill the venerables of the Golden Flame sect. Then, they will go to the surrounding top-level sects and ask them if they can attack the Golden Flame sect. If they can't, they will kill their venerables. That will be enough. Who would dare to refuse? Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Chuyu, I want to ask you something. What if two forces both have core members of Tianjin Tower, and there is a conflict between them? Night Sorrow asked. He found that Nanjinxing was in Tianji Tower, so there would be a conflict between the forces with core members of Tianjin Tower. At that time, the attitude of Tianjin Tower would be the key. Sikong Chuyu explained to Yishang, it's very simple. First, it'll be best if it can be adjusted. If it can't, then it'll depend on whose status is higher and who is more important to the Extreme Heaven Tower. It's that simple. Under normal circumstances, it can be adjusted. If you don't give face to the core of the Extreme Heaven Tower, then your future days won't be too good. Don't you agree? Yishang nodded. He understood Sikong's logic. Night Sorrow then told him what Yang Lei had told him. I expected this. I'm Abba's only weakness. Those uncles won't let me go so easily. That hateful Ji Yuhao, I didn't expect him to be so despicable, said Sikong Chuyu angrily. It's a pity that I'm too weak. Night Sorrow's eyes dimmed. Sikong Chuyu walked to Night Sorrow's side, held Night Sorrow's hand and said, You're still young. That Ji Yuhao is already in his 40s, almost 50. How shameless. Sikong Chuyu, who was wearing a pale yellow dress, looked at Night Sorrow with her expressive eyes. Her beautiful hair swayed in the breeze, and even the slightest strand of hair could affect Night Sorrow's heart. Turning around, Night Sorrow looked up at the sky and roared, his voice echoing in the air. You're right. I'm still young. I'll work hard. Night Sorrow turned around and grabbed Sikong Chuyu's shoulders. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs.com I believe in you. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and smiled. Night Sorrow gently closed his arms and hugged Sikong Chuyu. He didn't say anything because there was no point in saying anything. He had to do it. After a while, the two of them went to the front of the bamboo house to make tea. The two of them looked at each other and drank their tea. They didn't say anything. Everything was conveyed without words. When the sky darkened, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. If he wanted to gain a foothold in Tianji Tower, he needed to have a stage 4 cultivation level. He hadn't even reached stage 3, so he was a little far away. Upon seeing Night Sorrow go to cultivate, Sikong Chuyu also went to cultivate. After breaking through to the Spirit Severing Stage 8 at the Longquan Courtyard, she had returned to Yunwu Mountain. Before coming out this time, she had completed another breakthrough and entered the Spirit Severing Stage 9. Now, she needed to stabilize her cultivation level and straighten out her thoughts in preparation for her future breakthrough. Ai Go Xiao Say W. Chu. The next few days were quiet. When Night Sorrow planned to go to Danding Cliff to cultivate again, Hua Yunpeng, Yu Yangyu, and Yang Lei came. 13. This is Su Chenbai's storage ring. I'll leave the spirit stones inside for you. As for the other cultivation techniques, I'll leave them to the sect. Hua Yunpeng took out a storage ring and handed it to Night Sorrow. Grand Elder, I don't need it. If Grand Elder hadn't appeared in time, I wouldn't have been able to escape from Su Chenbai's pursuit, Night Sorrow said. It's only right to protect you. You offended the Golden Flame sect because you contributed to the sect. Hua Yunpeng didn't wait for Night Sorrow to refute and threw the storage ring to Night Sorrow. 13. The elders saw that you were good at fist techniques in addition to spear techniques, so they used the materials stored in the merit hall to make you a claw glove. Yu Yangyu threw a shiny silver metal claw glove to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took the claw glove and felt that it was very heavy in his hand. This claw glove weighed at least 150 kilograms. It was made of pure metal and could be used to move the fingers and wrists. The front of the 5 fingers were sharp spikes, and the back of the hand had protruding metal ridges, which were suitable for fist techniques. Try it on. It's a masterpiece that the Grand Elder worked on day and night without sleep. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow put his right hand into the claw glove and waved it. The claw glove made a sharp sound as it sliced through the air. The claw glove was very heavy, but it wasn't big and only covered the wrist. Night Sorrow took out his reincarnation spear and demonstrated his spear techniques. He realized that wearing the claw glove didn't affect his spear techniques. It seems to suit you. You won't have a problem with close combat in the future, Hua Yunpeng said. Night Sorrow nodded. The claw glove was indeed very suitable for him. Most importantly, it didn't affect his chasing wind spear technique, which was his favorite part. Yu Yangyu reminded Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu, your 9th senior sister came back and told me something. The people from Danding City should be here for Sikong. You two shouldn't go out during this period of time. Just cultivate steadily. They won't be so bold as to come to our Medicine Valley. 9th senior sister, are you sure? Night Sorrow looked at Yang Lei and asked. I'm sure. During this period of time, they appeared near Enforcer Dong's residence and even went to the Dragon Spring courtyard. This proves that they are here for Sikong. There are 2 groups of people, and the leaders are all at the 5th level of cultivation. They are much stronger than me. Yang Lei nodded seriously. Chuyu has brought trouble to everyone. Sikong Chuyu bowed slightly and said. Don't say that. I like you. Since you are 13's friend, then stay here peacefully. I will go to Danding City later to take a look. This is not a place where they can do anything. Hua Yunpeng said. Thank you, Grand Elder. Night Sorrow nodded and said. All right, then you two cultivate. I will leave first. Hua Yunpeng nodded to Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu and left with Yu Yangyu. 9th senior sister, is it serious? Night Sorrow asked. Indeed. These days, they have been very rampant. They are just short of saying that they are looking for someone. I even saw Yunxia. Yang Lei said. The situation is complicated. Night Sorrow understood the current situation. Who cares if it is complicated or not? You two just stay here at Taishan Peak. I don't believe that they will dare to come to Taishan Peak. Yang Lei sat down and said. Then we will listen to 9th senior sister. Sikong Chuyu nodded. 9th senior sister, you can stay here tonight. Yishang said. Won't I disturb you too? Yang Lei's beautiful eyes looked back and forth between Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu. 9th senior sister, what are you saying? Sikong Chuyu said embarrassedly. Chapter 225. A genius remembers love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. You can squeeze with Chuyu, Night Sorrow said with a smile. So you're saying that you're giving Sikong to me today? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Ninth senior sister, what are you talking about? Sikong Chuyu blushed. Yang Lei's words implied that something had already happened between Sikong Chuyu and Night Sorrow. Hee, it's settled then. 13, you took advantage of me a few days ago. I'm going to earn it back today, Yang Lei said to Night Sorrow. D = original #FS release. Night Sorrow blushed. What happened a few days ago was a complete accident. At that time, Night Sorrow didn't think too much about it, but now that he thought about it, it was indeed inappropriate. Seeing that Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu had gone to rest, Night Sorrow also returned to his room to cultivate. Listening to the two girls laughing and giggling, Night Sorrow was unable to meditate and cultivate. Fortunately, the two of them were only fooling around for a while and did not delay Night Sorrow's cultivation. After daybreak, the three of them ate something together. Then, Night Sorrow left. He was going to Dan Ding Cliff to raise his true chi cultivation to the peak stage of element gathering tier, and then slowly settle down. There were some people who had been in the peak stage of element gathering tier for a very long time. Enlightenment, Shi Yunxiao, Lan Yu, and the others had all settled down for more than a year. Night Sorrow also wanted to cultivate to the bottleneck earlier, and then settle down to find an opportunity to break through. Love Go Little Say Kyung Lei and Sikong Chuyu both supported Night Sorrow's decision. They also hoped that Night Sorrow could improve his cultivation as soon as possible. Elder Su was also surprised to see Night Sorrow, because Night Sorrow hadn't been here for a while. After greeting Elder Su, Night Sorrow asked Tianyu to return to the bamboo forest peak. Then, he began to climb the cliff. Night Sorrow didn't have any difficulty reaching the 4,000 m mark. Night Sorrow then charged towards the 5,000 m mark. Seeing Night Sorrow climb the cliff, many disciples who came to cultivate paused and watched Night Sorrow climb the cliff. Night Sorrow had broken the record when he was in the 6th level of element gathering tier, and now he was already in the 9th level of element gathering tier. Everyone wanted to know whether or not Night Sorrow would challenge the record he had set. At 4,500 meters, Night Sorrow felt some pressure, but it was still within his tolerance. Night Sorrow paused for a moment, took a sip of wine, and continued climbing. Enlightenment, do you think the heavens created such a monster to attack us on purpose? Lan Yu, who was very close to enlightenment, asked. There are new talents in every generation. 13th uncle is the king of this generation, enlightenment said. If Yi Shang had defeated Shi Yunxiao, then Qi Ming still had the thought of challenging him. But after Yi Shang killed Tai Fei and Zhang Xia, that thought was completely gone. He wasn't a match for either of them, let alone killing them consecutively. Indeed, he killed 6 people consecutively that day in the arena. We couldn't compete with any of them. Will he continue to challenge the height of Danding Cliff? Lan Yu was convinced. I don't think so. 13th uncle doesn't care about other people's opinions. He only asks his own heart. If he doesn't think it's necessary, he won't do it, enlightenment said. He's not a high-profile person. You don't know, but now my martial Aunt Lin is in a dilemma because of him. Although no one said anything about her, she has been feeling guilty, Lan Yu said. That can't be helped. 13th uncle seems to have someone in his heart. Remember the last woman that appeared that day? Martial Aunt Lin Jingyi said she was at the peak of the 4th step. She seems to be a beauty. Enlightenment said with a smile. That's why 13th uncle rejected all the arrangements of Crate Myrtle. This also hurt Martial Aunt Lin's self-esteem, Lan Yu said. Lan Yu said. She understood that because Yi Shang had refused, Lin Jingyi felt embarrassed and attacked Yi Shang. Let's not talk about it. Look at how fierce this guy is. We can't even reach 4,300 meters, but he's already at 4,700 meters. He's still not stopping. Enlightenment said as he looked at Night Sorrow who was rushing towards the 5,000-meter platform. At this time, Night Sorrow had already reached the 4,800-meter platform. After drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine, he took a breath and recovered a little. Night Sorrow continued to rush towards the 5,000-meter platform. Climbing to 4,800 meters didn't consume much energy for Night Sorrow. He climbed to the 5,000-meter platform in a spurt of energy. Night Sorrow didn't stop after reaching the 5,000-meter platform. Instead, he moved forward another 10 meters and found a platform to meditate. The 5,000-meter platform didn't have any pressure. It wasn't suitable for refining Jin Qi and the energy in the body. I have nothing to say. Enlightenment shook his head and sat down to cultivate. Lan Yu was the same. She saw that Night Sorrow didn't have any pressure when he reached the 5,000-meter platform. It was very easy. In other words, 5,000 meter wasn't Night Sorrow's limit. Enlightenment and Lan Yu weren't the only ones who had this idea. Everyone who saw Night Sorrow climbing the cliff had this idea. Looking at Night Sorrow sitting cross-legged and cultivating, Elder Su nodded silently. His feelings for Night Sorrow were complicated. Night Sorrow had found the Holy Cauldron scripture, which allowed him to break through and extend his life. This was gratitude and pride. He was proud that the Medicine Valley had such a disciple. The elders of the Medicine Valley had a meeting to discuss it. They planned to cultivate Gong Xian and Night Sorrow as the successors of the Valley Master. However, Yu Yangyu refused. Gong Xian was now the peak master. In the future, his achievements depended on himself. Night Sorrow wasn't interested in this because he didn't want to go to Danding Peak. He just wanted to stay at Taishian Peak and cultivate. This kind of attitude made the elders of the Medicine Valley hate and love. They hated his lack of ambition and loved his indifference to fame and fortune. Night Sorrow was recovering while refining his own cultivation. After recovering his energy, Night Sorrow stood up and used the Jin Yu hand to consume his Jin Qi and energy. Then, he continued to cultivate. This disappointed those who wanted to see Night Sorrow continue to challenge. Night Sorrow had no intention of continuing to climb. Night Sorrow cultivated at this position for 4 days. As long as his Jin Qi and energy in his body recovered, he would get up and cultivate his battle skills. Sometimes, he would cultivate his spear arts and movement skills. Other times, he would face the pressure from Danding Cliff and cultivate the killing fist. After consuming his Jin Qi and energy from the myriad Tao Tome, he would continue to cultivate. The high intensity of cultivation allowed Night Sorrow's cultivation to increase very quickly. Especially with the myriad Tao Tome, the muscle-strengthening energy in his body increased exponentially. Batch after batch of disciples came to Danding Cliff to cultivate. Only Night Sorrow, who was 5,000 meters above Danding Cliff, didn't move. Feeling the pressure lessen, Night Sorrow continued to climb. When he reached the platform at 5,100 meters, he continued to cultivate. Night Sorrow cultivated for half a month. He only stopped when his Jin Qi couldn't increase anymore. The myriad Tao Tome's cultivation was also not far from the peak of muscle strengthening level 7. Night Sorrow's cultivation speed was fast because the effects of cultivating at Danding Cliff were too strong. It was second only to the Yuan gathering array. Otherwise, the disciples of the Medicine Valley wouldn't care so much about merit points. Night Sorrow broke the record, which meant that he had the privilege of increasing his cultivation without limit. Chapter 226. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go divided by Xiao. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Since Tianyu was not there, Night Sorrow was strolling slowly on the mountain road, feeling the true qi in his dantian. He wanted to ask Sikong Chuyu about the difference in difficulty between advancing from qi refining to essence gathering and from essence gathering to core condensation. He felt that he could make a breakthrough at any time. It was not as scary as Yang Lei and the others said. Love Go divided by Xiao 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 W, A I Chu X. Xiaom. When he returned to Bamboo Forest Peak, Sikong Chuyu was washing clothes by the stream. Her hair was a little wet, which proved that she had just taken a bath. Chuyu, I'm back. Night Sorrow shouted when he saw Sikong Chuyu. Sikong Chuyu turned around and looked at Night Sorrow with a smile. Looking at Sikong Chuyu standing by the stream in the breeze, Night Sorrow was a little dazed. Her graceful figure and her proud face with a smile were so warm. Love go shao say w, Chu walking over, Night Sorrow stretched out his arms and hugged Sikong Chuyu. Sikong Chuyu did not resist. Her body gently pressed against Night Sorrow's chest, and the two stood quietly. After a while, the two separated. Sikong Chuyu hung up the washed clothes and then boiled water to make tea. At this time, Tianyu and Silver Fox also came back. Silver Fox was lying on Tianyu's back, looking very obedient. Seeing Night Sorrow, Tianyu glided to Night Sorrow's side and rubbed his head against Night Sorrow's side. Silver Fox also jumped onto Night Sorrow's shoulder. Come down quickly. You can't do this in the future, Night Sorrow said with a smile as he carried Silver Fox down. The two of them have been playing very well recently. Tianyu not only takes Silver Fox with him when he's hunting, but also takes him out to fly when he's free, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. I've been busy cultivating these days, so I didn't accompany them or you, Night Sorrow said. I'm not a child. It's good to cultivate quietly here. You've reached the bottleneck of the energy gathering realm, so you should also cultivate well. Love go shao say w, Quinn edition, 9th senior sister came the day before yesterday. The leaders of the two groups went to visit her when Grand Elder Hua was there. They made it clear that they didn't mean to offend Medicine Valley. They just came to look for someone. One of them is my 6th uncle, Sikong Tian Hua, and the other is Ji Yumming from Ji Yu's family, Sikong Chuyu said. Since they said that they didn't mean to offend Medicine Valley, then they shouldn't reach out to Taishan Peak. Night Sorrow felt a little relieved. It's safe for now. After all, I didn't contact anyone this time, nor did I use Tianji Tower's channels. They have spies in Tianji Tower, so they can't find anything, Sikong Chuyu said. That's good. I'm relieved, Night Sorrow said. This was what he was most worried about. Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow, there's one more thing. They've investigated you and looked into your background. Maybe Chuyu leaked our relationship, so they've turned their attention to you. They want to dig out some information from you. Most /a chapter upper 9q hearing this news, Night Sorrow was a little shocked. If that was the case, then there might be trouble. Sikong Chuyu conveyed Yang Lei's message. 9th senior sister wants you to walk around Danding City. That way, if they see you but not me, they won't stay in Danding City. Alright, I'll accompany you today. Tomorrow, we'll go to Danding City, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Sitting in front of the bamboo house with Sikong Chuyu, Yishuan watched the moon rise and enjoyed the gentle breeze. Night Sorrow asked, Chuyu, a lot of people are stuck at the Dan formation stage. Is this stage really that difficult? Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow, if it's difficult, then it's as difficult as climbing the heavens. Many people can't pass this stage because their chi isn't condensed enough. If you say it's easy, then it's very easy. As long as your chi is condensed enough, then you can naturally form a Dan. The difficulty of advancing depends on your chi's condensed level. The same liquid chi has different levels of condensed chi. Night Sorrow nodded. He was confident in his chi's condensed level. Although his cultivation speed was fast, his chi had been tempered by the energy of Danding Cliff. It was not weak at all. What are you thinking about? Try to break through when you're confident. Don't rush to break through. It'll be troublesome if you enter the false Dan stage. It's a very long process, and it'll delay your growth. Sikong Chuyu was a little worried about Night Sorrow. He was afraid that Night Sorrow would advance too quickly. I understand, Night Sorrow said while holding Sikong Chuyu's hand. You only know how to take advantage of me, Sikong Chuyu blushed under the moonlight. That night, Night Sorrow did not cultivate. He really slept. Of course, he slept by himself. After dawn, Night Sorrow washed up. Sikong Chuyu helped Night Sorrow tie up his hair. Night Sorrow usually used a thin string to tie up his hair. Just as Night Sorrow was about to leave for Danding City, Gongxian, Aoi, and Yang Lei came over. The three of them did not look good. Ninth senior sister, I was planning to go to Danding City to find you. Why did you come over? Night Sorrow greeted. They left, those bastards, Yang Lei cursed. What happened? Night Sorrow had a bad feeling. They found out that you were from Zhuyuan Town in Tiannan City, so they went to Zhuyuan Town. The villagers there did not reveal any information about you and Sikong. They set fire to Zhuyuan Town and injured Father Gu. Yang Lei's voice was filled with killing intent. Hearing that Father Gu was injured, Night Sorrow's eyes flashed coldly. Who did it? I'm not sure. I only know that the people who went were from Ji Yu's family. I also received the news last night, so I came over early this morning to find you, Yang Lei said. Ah. This is not over. Night Sorrow roared at the sky. We need to go to Zhuyuan Town to check on the situation, Aoi said. I'll go now. Sikong, wait for me here. Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chuyu with bloodshot eyes. To Night Sorrow, Father Gu was not only his savior, but also his family. No. I'll go too. I've seen Father twice, and he's been very nice to me. Every time, he would ask me to stay for dinner. He's never treated me as an outsider. Sikong Chuyu shook his head and released his fire phoenix. Don't use your flying demonic beast. It's too eye-catching. Just be my green condor. Aoi said. She planned to go with them. 13. It's not convenient for me to leave Taishan Peak right now. Your 6th senior sister and 9th senior sister will go with you. If anything happens, send a message back. Remember, Taishan Peak will always be behind you, Gong Xian said to Night Sorrow. Thank you, eldest senior brother. I understand. I'll take my leave first. Night Sorrow put the silver fox cub into the beast taming crystal, then jumped onto Tianyu's back and flew down the bamboo forest peak. Yang Lei, Aoi, and Sikong Chuyu followed closely behind on their green condors. Chapter 227. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Small? We provide you with exciting novels to read. When he arrived at Zhuyuan Town, Night Sorrow realized that he couldn't recognize the place after not seeing it for a while. There were broken bricks and tiles everywhere, and some places were even emitting black smoke. However, many people were cleaning up. Night Sorrow recognized them as the city guards of South Sky City. The villagers of Zhuyuan Town were also cleaning up. Everyone was very calm. Other than the sound of footsteps, there was no other sound in the town. After taking a deep breath, Night Sorrow directly rushed to Papa Gu's bamboo house. When he arrived at the courtyard, Night Sorrow growled angrily. The bamboo house was burned and turned into ruins. Papa Gu was lying in a temporary shack. Uncle Nyo, Auntie Lin, and the rest were in front of the shack. Auntie Lin was holding a bowl of medicine. Night Sorrow slowly walked to the bed in the shack. Dad, I'm back. Night Sorrow, who reached out to pull Papa Gu, was suddenly stunned. Papa Gu's left shoulder was bare. One of his arms was gone. Dad, tell me, who did this? Who did this? Night Sorrow asked with clenched fists. You're back. It's good that you're back. Papa Gu coughed twice, and a trace of blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. Dad has internal injuries. Let me take a look. You go outside and wait. Aoi came into the shack and stood beside Night Sorrow. Yang Lei came in and pulled Night Sorrow out. 13. Calm down. Papa Gu will be fine with 6th senior sister's help, Yang Lei said as she pulled Night Sorrow, whose breathing was a little unstable. Night Sorrow, don't worry. Papa Gu will be fine. Uncle Nyo also came over. His arm was also wrapped in thick gauze. Uncle, are you okay? Although Night Sorrow's eyes were red, he hadn't lost his mind. I'm fine. It's just that Papa Gu's situation is a little worse. The town guards were also injured, Uncle Nyo said. Uncle Nyo then explained the situation to Night Sorrow. A few days ago, a group of people came to Bamboo Garden Town. They asked this and that in an arrogant and commanding manner. The town's guards came to stop them but were directly injured. In the end, they captured Father Gu and asked about Night Sorrow's recent situation and who Night Sorrow was with. Father Gu naturally didn't reply. In the end, one of his arms was broken and he was beaten up. Then, this group of people set fire to Bamboo Garden Town. Do you know who they are? Night Sorrow asked. Yes, the leader said, I, Ji Yufeng, have seen a lot of tough people. Let's see how tough your bones are. Then, he chopped off Old Man Gu's arm. Uncle Nyo said. Ji Yufeng, I'll remember that. Uncle Nyo, Papa Gu isn't free right now. Take this money and rebuild the town. Night Sorrow took out a stack of gold notes and said. There's no need for that. The people from South Sky City are here. They said that it was their fault for not protecting Bamboo Garden Town well. Therefore, South Sky City will bear all the losses of Bamboo Garden Town, Uncle Nyo said. What the F***ck have they done? Night Sorrow roared. You can't blame them completely. Ji family came too suddenly. Besides, the people from South Sky City couldn't stop them. It's my fault for being careless, Yang Lei said. It's all my fault, Sikong Chuyu, who had been standing beside Night Sorrow, said while wiping his tears. Sikong, it's not your fault. Ji family is too overbearing and despicable. How could they attack ordinary people? Yang Lei said with hatred. At that moment, Aoi came out and said, I helped Papa Gu evacuate his stagnated blood and gave him some healing pills. His internal injuries are all healed now. Only his external injuries are left. His severed arm has already been buried. Also, I don't have that kind of elixir that can reconnect a severed limb. Qing Ji said. Thank you, Sixth Sister, Night Sorrow said. Then, the deputy mayor of South Sky City came to apologize. After all, this was their territory. It was their fault that something like this happened. Yong *Qgio *8 for free. Do your best to deal with the aftermath. It can only be better than before, not worse. The villagers' losses must be compensated in full. Moreover, it must be done quickly. Yang Lei took out the elder's order and showed it to the vice city lord from South Sky City. Yes, elder. Today, all the craftsmen from South Sky City will come to rebuild this place. The deputy mayor bowed and left. Night Sorrow returned to the shack. In the shack, Father Gu had already fallen asleep. Yi Shang reached out to cover him with the blanket. Seeing the charred wooden horse beside Papa Gu's bed, Night Sorrow picked it up. He was afraid that Papa Gu would have trouble turning over. Don't move. Uncle Nyo wanted to take it away yesterday, but Papa Gu refused. He snatched it back from the fire with one hand, Auntie Lin said. Night Sorrow's tears fell. His heart was filled with mixed feelings. He put down the wooden horse with trembling hands and turned to leave the shack. His heart was stifled, so he could only go outside to get some fresh air. The craftsmen from South Sky City arrived at noon. Everyone brought some daily necessities. After they arrived, they distributed the daily necessities to the townspeople and began to repair the houses in the town. The first thing they dealt with was Papa Gu's house. Yang Lei made the decision and asked Uncle Nyo to do his best to restore the house to its former state. Night Sorrow, it's my fault for bringing such a disaster to Papa Gu. Standing in front of the yard, Sikong Chuyu said with some self-blame. It's not your fault. It's fate. As long as you guys are fine, I'm happy. These old bones of mine won't die. Papa Gu walked out with one hand on his walking stick. Dad, I'm sorry. Sikong Chuyu turned around and looked at the one-armed Papa Gu. Tears fell like rain. Child, don't be like this. Papa Gu put down his walking stick and patted Sikong Chuyu's shoulder. I'll make Gu's family pay back 100-fold. Night Sorrow said with a murderous tone. It's all in the past. Girl, don't cry. Go and make us a pot of tea, Papa Gu said. He wanted to change the current atmosphere. Papa Gu, how do you feel? Aoi asked. I feel much better. I'm really sorry for making you guys come here again. Papa Gu looked at Aoi and Yang Lei and said. Papa Gu, please don't say that. You're 13th's relative and also ours. This time, Medicine Valley didn't protect Zhuyuan Town well enough. That's why Zhuyuan Town suffered such a disaster, Yang Lei said. If it was in the past, it wouldn't have been good to lose an arm. At that time, Night Sorrow was still young. Now that Night Sorrow has grown up, I don't need to do anything, Papa Gu said with a smile. Dad, come with me this time. Night Sorrow planned to bring Papa Gu to Longquan Courtyard. There were servants there and the environment was good. Chapter 228. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow nodded and turned to look at the bamboo hut that the craftsman had repaired. The bamboo house was more or less the same as before. In fact, it was newly built. How could a burnt-down bamboo house be repaired? The courtyard had also been cleaned up, and the walls had been rebuilt with green bricks and red tiles. Night Sorrow, bring my things back. The bamboo house is more comfortable, said Old Man Gu when he saw that the bamboo house was ready. Night Sorrow nodded and went to tear down the shack that Father Gu was temporarily staying in. Then, he placed the bedding and other things sent over from South Sky City into Shinju House. When he came out, Night Sorrow saw Father Gu carrying the wooden horse with one hand and placing it back in its original position. Dad, I'm all grown up. I don't need these anymore. Night Sorrow said as he helped Old Man Gu up. I know you don't need it. When you're not around, looking at the wooden horse makes me feel like I can see you playing on it when you were young. I can feel you by my side, Papa Gu said with a smile. Dad, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have stubbornly insisted on going out. Night Sorrow felt a lump in his throat. Child, what nonsense are you saying? You are destined to belong to the outside world. No one blames you for this matter, because everything in Bamboo Garden Town changed because of you. Love go little say Old Man Gu said. Night Sorrow, do you know? If Bamboo Garden Town doesn't change, then we'll have to rely on hunting for a living. You also know that people from Bamboo Garden Village often die in the mouths of beasts, and there are also frequent attacks from demonic beasts. Everyone is very satisfied with our current life, Uncle Nyo said. Old Nyo, let's not talk about other things. Bring the wine. Old Man Gu said to Uncle Nyo. No, absolutely not. Father Gu, your injuries aren't light and you need to rest for a while. You can't drink during this period. Aoi hurriedly stopped him. No, what should I do if I can't drink it? Mr. Gu was a little depressed when he heard Aoi say that she couldn't drink it. Dad, just bear with it for a few days. It really isn't a good time to drink now, Night Sorrow said. For the next few days, Night Sorrow and the others stayed in Bamboo Garden Village. Yang Lei planned to chase after him, but she gave up because it was impossible for her to catch up with him. Sixth senior sister, is there really no way to solve my Father Gu's condition? Yi Shang stood in the middle of the town and looked at the restored Bamboo Garden Town. He was asking about the shattered Dantian. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs.com, it's very difficult. There's only one medicine that can do it. It's called the energy recovery pill. In the history of our Medicine Valley, we've refined it once, but it's long gone. The main ingredient of the energy recovery pill is the inner core of the energy recovery beast. I've never heard of any energy recovery beast. The energy recovery beast is a rank 5 monster and it's extremely fast. It's very difficult to kill it unless you're a supremacy, but which supremacy would hunt it? Aoi said with a bitter smile. If this continues, I'm worried that Father Gu won't have much lifespan left. Night Sorrow's eyes were a little dim. Tomorrow, I'll refine some energy recovery pills that can improve an ordinary person's physique. It's possible to extend their lifespan, Aoi said. 13. Father Gu just wants to live a normal life. You don't have to think too much, Yang Lei said. I understand. I just want to be filial. Night Sorrow nodded. / only 4, ZD official J version, the other %D all W, yes, Steel, I version, P Night Sorrow and the rest stayed for 7 days. Father Gu began to chase them away. He didn't want Night Sorrow to waste time in Bamboo Garden Town. Moreover, Bamboo Garden Town had returned to normal and was currently being expanded. South Sky City had also sent more guards. Father, are you really not going to leave with me? Night Sorrow tried to persuade Father Gu. I was born here, so I'll stay here when I'm old. Don't worry and cultivate. Be careful in everything you do. Father Gu reminded Night Sorrow. I will. Night Sorrow sighed. He understood Father Gu and knew that once Father Gu decided on something, it was hard to change his mind. Father Gu, take 1 energy recovery pill every 3 days. Aoi, who had released the green condor, reminded Father Gu. Don't worry. I'll remember. I'll have to trouble you guys to take care of Night Sorrow, Father Gu said with a smile. Aoi, Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Night Sorrow bowed to Father Gu before getting on the back of the flying beast and leaving. Standing on Tianyu's back and looking at Father Gu, who was waving goodbye with his only arm, Night Sorrow's tears fell. That figure was much older than he remembered. Knowing that Night Sorrow was sad, Aoi and the rest didn't say anything. Yang Lei threw a jar of wine to Night Sorrow. After drinking a jar of wine, Yishang's mood finally stabilized. He understood that Father Gu needed this kind of life. He had old neighbors and old companions. Even if he really went to the Longquan courtyard, he wouldn't necessarily be happy. They didn't go to Longquan courtyard. Instead, they went directly to Taishian Peak. 13. How's it going? Gong Xian asked when he saw the group. Without needing Night Sorrow to say anything, Yang Lei told him about the situation. Send someone to investigate. If this group of people is still in the Medicine Valley area, chase after them and kill them at all costs, Gong Xian instructed Shi Tianlin, who was beside him. Let's put this matter aside for now. We'll deal with it ourselves when the time comes, Night Sorrow stopped Shi Tianlin. Night Sorrow had his own considerations. He had brought a lot of trouble to the Medicine Valley. If he provoked giants like the Jiyu family and the Sikong family, it would bring an even greater disaster to the Medicine Valley. This was something he didn't want to see. After all, Hua Yunpeng was the only venerable in the Medicine Valley who had just advanced. He still needed time to develop. 13. Gong Xian looked at Night Sorrow and shouted. He could understand Night Sorrow's painstaking efforts. Eldest senior brother, thank you. Night Sorrow said as he bowed. With a sigh, Gong Xian shook his head and didn't say anything else. If Night Sorrow could think of it, how could he not think of it? After saying goodbye to Gong Xian, Night Sorrow and the others arrived at Bamboo Forest Peak. After eating something together, Aoi and Yang Lei left. Chuyu, I'm going to Pill Tripod Cliff to cultivate. It'll take a few days. Take care of yourself, Night Sorrow said to Sikong Chuyu. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. You're already doing very well. Sikong Chuyu knew that Night Sorrow was under a lot of pressure now, mainly because the Jiyu family and the Sikong family were too strong. Night Sorrow smiled and hugged Sikong Chuyu. Then, he took Tianyu to Pill Tripod Cliff. After sending Tianyu back, Night Sorrow began to climb the cliff. After returning to the 5,100-meter platform, Night Sorrow began to cultivate. After recovering his energy, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. This was a process of consolidating his true Qi cultivation base and strengthening his muscle-strengthening realm of the 7th level of the Myriad Dao Treasured Tome. This cultivation session lasted for 4 or 5 days. Night Sorrow felt his myriad Tao treasured tome increase, but his true Qi cultivation base didn't have any reaction at all. The degree of true Qi condensation didn't change for 2 or 3 days. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that this was a sign of true Qi condensation reaching its limit. It couldn't continue to condense. Chapter 229. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow made the decision to break through to the core condensation stage. Since he could no longer increase the condensation of his true Qi, it would be a waste of time to continue cultivating. It was meaningless. At this time, the sky was dark, and no one would continue to climb the cliff. There was no one else on Danding Cliff. Who could be like him, who could cultivate on Danding Cliff indefinitely? Night Sorrow took out the wine jar and drank 2 mouthfuls. When he wanted to drink more, he remembered Sikong Chuyu's words and put away the wine jar. He came to the platform 5,000 meters high and felt the night breeze, stabilizing his mood. After a while, Night Sorrow sat down cross-legged and began to circulate his true Qi, stabilizing it and preparing to enter the core condensation stage. If others knew that Night Sorrow had broken through to the peak of element gathering stage in less than half a month, they would definitely think that Night Sorrow was greedy for merit. However, Night Sorrow knew that he could no longer increase the condensation of his true Qi. After stabilizing his cultivation for half an hour, Night Sorrow began to compress the liquid true Qi in his dantian. When Qi refining stage entered element gathering stage, it was necessary to compress the gaseous true Qi into a liquid state. When element gathering stage entered core condensation stage, it was necessary to condense the liquid true Qi into a solid state, which was to condense it into a dan bead. Night Sorrow controlled the liquid true Qi to compress toward the center of his dantian. Only when it was compressed to the extreme would there be a qualitative change. Love go little say W. Chu. This was very difficult. The quality of the liquid true Qi was already very high. It was not easy to improve it further. Time slipped away little by little. The volume of the true Qi in Night Sorrow's dantian became smaller and smaller. It had already become a gelatinous state. 2 hours, 4 hours. Night Sorrow kept compressing his true Qi, controlling the true Qi in his dantian to rotate quickly. He kept compressing the liquid true Qi in his dantian toward the center of his dantian, where the gelatinous true Qi was located. This state was the state of a fake pill. Many people were stuck here because their true Qi was not condensed enough to form a real pill. In the later stages, they had to constantly polish and condense their true Qi to solidify. This was a time-consuming and laborious process. Of course, Night Sorrow knew what the current situation was. He didn't dare to be careless and tried his best to invade the gelatinous true Qi. The gelatinous true Qi became more and more solid, and the true Qi in Night Sorrow's dantian became less and less. 6 hours, 8 hours, time passed very quickly, and the true Qi in Night Sorrow's dantian slowly disappeared. All of it entered the gelatinous true Qi in the core of his dantian. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs. Now, it could be said that it was no longer gelatinous true Qi. It had already taken the embryonic form of a dan bead, which was the size of a pigeon egg. Night Sorrow wanted to compress all the irregular gelatinous true Qi around the dan bead into the dan bead. The sky was already bright, and Night Sorrow was also at the final moment of breakthrough. With a low roar in Night Sorrow's heart, the last bit of gelatinous true Qi was squeezed into the dan bead by Night Sorrow. When the last bit of gelatinous true Qi disappeared and was all compressed into the dan bead in Night Sorrow's dantian shook and then began to operate. Then, it released a trace of mist towards Night Sorrow's dantian, which was the true Qi released by the dan bead. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs. The dan bead began to rotate, and Night Sorrow's aura also changed. At this time, he was no longer a yuan gathering stage cultivator, but a third-order core condensation stage cultivator. After opening his eyes, Night Sorrow got up and began to cultivate on the platform at a height of 5,100 meters. While stabilizing his core condensation stage cultivation, he also increased his myriad Tau tome cultivation to the peak of 7th level muscle strengthening stage. After cultivating for 2 more days, Night Sorrow completely stabilized his core condensation stage cultivation, and after cultivating the myriad Tau tome to the peak of 7th level muscle strengthening stage, he stood up. After standing up, Night Sorrow saw Tianyu flying outside the Dan Ding cliff with the silver fox cub on his back, and then he let out a long howl. Tianyu came here once a day. When he heard Night Sorrow's howl, Tianyu flew to the periphery of Night Sorrow's location. Night Sorrow jumped up and directly landed on Tianyu's back, then he controlled Tianyu to descend. Although he didn't need to register and didn't need to spend merit points, he still needed to greet Elder Su when he came or left. This was a courtesy. At the bottom of the Dan Ding cliff, Night Sorrow jumped off Tianyu and bowed to Elder Su. Elder Su, disciple has to go back first. Core condensation stage. How long have you been in the peak of Yuan gathering stage? You dare to break through to the core condensation stage, child, you are too reckless. Fortunately, you succeeded, otherwise the consequences would be serious. Seeing Night Sorrow's cultivation, Elder Su was shocked at first, then he was scared. If Night Sorrow failed to break through and entered the pseudo-core stage, it would take several years to cross this gap, and even the most outstanding genius would be buried. Fortunately, Night Sorrow succeeded. Elder Su, don't worry, I'm sure. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Child, you are too crazy, you can't be like this in the future, hurry up and see the Valley Master. The Valley Master will also scold you. Elder Su said with a smile, after the fear, he was happy. Night Sorrow was young, and his cultivation time was short, but he was strong in fighting. After crossing this step, it would be another period of rapid improvement. Elder Su, take this wine. Leaving a jar of wine for Elder Su, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu and left. Night Sorrow didn't go to the Dan Ding peak, he didn't want to disturb Yu Yang Yu because of this. In Night Sorrow's heart, this was a breakthrough. He didn't realize how difficult it was to go from the Yuan gathering stage to the core condensation stage. Night Sorrow didn't go to the Tai Xian temple, and directly returned to the bamboo forest peak. After getting off Tianyu, Night Sorrow saw Sikong Chuyu meditating on a futon in front of the bamboo house. Feeling Night Sorrow's aura, Sikong Chuyu opened his eyes and stood up. Core condensation stage. You went to break through, didn't you say you were going to cultivate? I was cultivating, and I felt like I was about to break through. Night Sorrow said as he sat down. That was a bit rash, you should know that this is a very important transformation for a cultivator. Once you fail, you will have to spend a lot of energy to make up for it. In many powers, no matter how good a member is, once they enter the fake core stage, they will be abandoned and won't be focused on. Sikong Chuyu said. I feel that the time is right, I won't joke about my cultivation. Night Sorrow said. I know you are under a lot of pressure, but you have to promise me that you will not be so impulsive in the future, you will discuss things with me more. Also, I want to congratulate you for crossing a big hurdle. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow's messy hair, and suddenly felt sorry for him. I will, let's make a pot of tea. Night Sorrow said with a smile. To be able to see Sikong Chuyu's smile, training hard was nothing to him. N head X, GV, okay, we will make some dishes later, and drink to celebrate later. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Chapter 230. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Hearing that Night Sorrow had entered the core condensation stage, Enlightenment and the others stopped cultivating at Danding Cliff and went straight to Taishian Peak to drink with Night Sorrow. This was a big deal. Senior sister Lan Yu, you've finally made it. Senior brother Yun Xiao has entered the core condensation stage. Martial uncle Yi has also entered the core condensation stage. If he didn't enter the core condensation stage, I don't know how long he would suppress us. Feng Yen said with a smile. If Night Sorrow succeeded, Lan Yu would be first on the list. Haha. It hasn't been easy for me. I must have a good drink today. Lan Yu said excitedly. I don't know what you're so excited about. Don't you feel that the gap between you and Martial Uncle Yi is getting bigger? Enlightenment looked at them with a smile and poured cold water on them. Martial Uncle Yi is too much of a beast. After entering the core condensation stage, the road ahead is smooth. It doesn't matter if the gap is big. I won't compete with him, I'll compete with you. Shi Yunhai was quite optimistic. Yes, it's time for those guys on the pill list to have a headache. It won't be long before the pill list becomes a mess. Martial Uncle Yi has broken through, we must celebrate. Feng Yen was also quite excited. When they passed by the Taishan Hall, they met Aoi who came out of the Taishan Hall. Stop. You bastards, why aren't you cultivating? What are you doing at Taishan Peak? Aoi stopped them. They were heading towards the bamboo forest peak. Aoi knew that it wasn't convenient for Sikong Chuyu to show up. Martial Uncle Aoi, we're here to celebrate Martial Uncle Yi. Feng Yen bowed to Aoi and said. What's there to celebrate? Your Martial Uncle Yi is in a bad mood recently. He's very angry. Aoi glared at Feng Yen. Entering the core condensation stage, isn't such a good thing worth celebrating? Shi Yunhai whispered. He felt that the people of Taishan Peak were too abnormal. What? What do you mean by entering the core condensation stage? Aoi didn't hear clearly, so she asked back. Martial Uncle Yi has entered the core condensation stage, doesn't Martial Uncle Aoi know? Lan Yu asked. 13 entered the core condensation stage. That's impossible. He only reached the peak of element gathering stage a few days ago. Who told you this? Aoi shook her head. She, Night Sorrow, and the others had just returned from Zhuyuan town a few days ago. She understood Night Sorrow's situation. She originally planned to tell Night Sorrow that she was accompanying the Sikong Chuyu and let Night Sorrow go to the Longquan courtyard to consolidate his cultivation. What's going on? Gong Xian and Hua Nan also came out of the main hall. Those bastards came to drink with 13, and they even came up with the reason that 13 entered the core condensation stage to celebrate. Aoi said. Martial Uncle Aoi, we didn't say that. It was Elder Su of Danding Cliff who said that Martial Uncle Yi was in the core condensation stage when he left this morning. Feng Yen said with a depressed face. Oh. Is it true? Let's go and see. Aoi heard that it was Elder Su who said it, so she knew that it might be true. Riding the Green Eagle, Aoi and Gong Xian arrived at the bamboo forest peak. When they arrived, they saw Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu eating. He really entered the core condensation stage. Gong Xian looked at Night Sorrow from head to toe. You bastard, you really dare to mess around. Aoi went up and slapped Night Sorrow on the shoulder. Sixth senior sister, why are you all scolding me? I've been cultivating for a few days, and I found that my chi didn't change at all. There's no point in continuing to condense it. Isn't it a waste of time if I don't break through? Night Sorrow was a little confused. Sikong, when the enlightenment people come, you should hide. Safety is the most important. Aoi ignored Night Sorrow's explanation and turned to Sikong Chuyu and said. Okay, then I'll go out for a walk. Sikong Chuyu stretched out his hand to summon the silver fox cub and left the bamboo garden peak. 13. Does Master know about your breakthrough? Gong Xian sat down and asked. No, it's not a big matter, so I won't disturb Master. Night Sorrow said. It's not a big matter. It's a big matter, you know. When us brothers and sisters enter the core condensation stage, Master is always by our side. This transformation directly affects our future achievements. Fortunately, you made it through. Gong Xian looked at Night Sorrow and shook his head helplessly. Then, the enlightenment people came over and greeted Gong Xian and Aoi. Martial Ant Aoi, look, Martial Ant Night Sorrow really entered the core condensation stage. We didn't lie. After greeting them, Feng Yan said. Okay, you guys chat. 13. Remember to visit Master when you have time, Gong Xian said to Night Sorrow and left with Aoi. Eldest senior brother, 13 is too reckless. How long has it been since he entered the peak of the essence gathering stage? He dares to break through to the core condensation stage. Aoi was a little scared. Look at the original version, Chapter A, Section O. 13 isn't a reckless person. His cultivation path is different from ordinary people. Well, this is something to be happy about, Gong Xian said with a smile. Enlightenment and the others drank for a while before leaving. Although they didn't say anything, Night Sorrow's breakthrough gave them a lot of pressure. Only after they left did Sikong Chuyu return. Sikong, I've wronged you. Night Sorrow said apologetically. How could you say that? I'm not wronged at all. Sikong Chuyu smiled. After tidying up, Sikong Chuyu didn't let Night Sorrow accompany him to chat. Instead, he let Night Sorrow stabilize his cultivation. After returning to his room, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and then went to break through the Myriad Tao scripture. He wanted to raise the Myriad Tao scripture's cultivation to the 8th level of the muscle strengthening realm. To reach the 8th level of the muscle strengthening realm, he needed to strengthen his chest and abdomen tendons. This level wasn't very difficult. All he needed to do was accumulate enough energy. Once he had enough energy, he could strengthen his tendons and abdomen. After 4 hours, Night Sorrow finished strengthening his chest and abdomen tendons and entered the 8th level of the Myriad Tao scripture. Night Sorrow was now confident that if he were to face Lin Jingyi's kick again, he wouldn't end up in such a sorry state. Feeling refreshed, Night Sorrow went to take a bath. The Myriad Tao scripture's advancement was too painful. It was so painful that he was covered in sweat. After taking a bath, Night Sorrow sat in the courtyard for a while. While Night Sorrow was sitting, Sikong Chuyu also came out. She had heard the commotion outside. Night Sorrow, why did you get up? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow. I went to take a bath. It's cold at night, so why did you come out? Night Sorrow put his outer robe on Sikong Chuyu. Night Sorrow, our path is our own. As long as we're happy, it's fine. I don't want you to feel too much pressure, said Sikong Chuyu as she leaned on Night Sorrow's shoulder. Chuyu, being with you makes me feel at ease and fulfilled. I don't care how strong Ji Yu's family is. I'll go find them. Not only for you, but also for father's right arm, said Night Sorrow. That's right. I have something to ask you. That day, 9th senior apprentice sister said you took advantage of her. She told me everything. Sikong Chuyu changed the topic. Chapter 231. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. 9th senior sister doesn't mind. Sikong Chuyu said in a low voice. Night Sorrow didn't know what to say and didn't continue to explain. Some things can't be explained clearly. The two sat for a while and then went back to cultivate. After the night passed, Yishan woke up early to practice his movement, spear art, and fist art. Night Sorrow's Shenqi entered the core condensation stage and his Myriad Tao Tome reached the 8th level of the muscle strengthening stage. His movement and battle skills needed to adapt to his new cultivation. He cultivated for the whole morning. Night Sorrow's spear, movement, and fist arts were also integrated with his cultivation. Night Sorrow, you should go to Tianji Tower and let the Tianjin Tower know about your recent situation. You entered the core condensation stage so quickly and filled your body with blood qi. These are all your strengths. If you show your strengths, it will be beneficial for the Tianjin Tower's assessment. Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. That's good. I'll be back soon. Night Sorrow nodded. He felt that Sikong Chuyu's words were reasonable. This was indeed his strength. Riding on Tianyu, Night Sorrow left. Standing on an ancient tree on Taishan Peak, Hua Yunpeng watched Night Sorrow leave and didn't continue to follow. He already knew that Night Sorrow entered the Tianjin Tower, so he felt that the Golden Flame sect wouldn't dare to hunt down Night Sorrow. After all, the Golden Flame sect was nothing in front of the Tianjin Tower. Riding on Tianyu, Night Sorrow directly went to Yang Lei's mansion. He wanted to see Yang Lei first and then do other things. Seeing that Night Sorrow's cultivation had reached the core condensation stage, Yang Lei's attitude was the same as always. She directly yelled, blaming Night Sorrow for being too impulsive. Night Sorrow was very conflicted. Now, everyone said the same thing when they saw him break through. However, he also knew that everyone was concerned about him and wanted his own good. Then, Yang Lei patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Are you angry? Ninth senior sister's words are a bit harsh, but you really can't be rash. Night Sorrow shook his head and said, I'm not angry. You have to believe me. I won't joke about cultivation. My words were indeed harsh. It's my fault. How about this? I'll treat you to a good meal. Yang Lei put her arm around Night Sorrow's shoulder and said, I'm going to take a walk around Tianji Tower, and then we'll go eat, Night Sorrow said. Yes. You're walking on this path now. Any qualifications are very important. Let's go and have a look. Yang Lei understood Night Sorrow's meaning and also knew that it was necessary. While Yang Lei was chatting with Night Sorrow, Gong Xian also arrived at the Dan Ding Hall and reported to Yu Yangyu about Night Sorrow's breakthrough. This made the first elder and second elder very surprised. Then, Gong Xian said that Aoi had already scolded Night Sorrow. 13 has been cultivating at Dan Ding Cliff during this time. His cultivation isn't superficial. Maybe he really feels that he's mature enough. Your 13th junior brother isn't stupid. Yu Yangyu said. His cultivation speed is too fast. In the future, he shouldn't participate in the competition between newcomers. Just give him merit points. If he participates, there's no way for newcomers to survive. Qian Wu said with a smile. Don't talk about him when you go back. You're doing it for his own good, but it will also bring pressure to him. Yu Yangyu said to Gong Xian. Night Sorrow left Yang Lei's mansion and went to Tianji Tower. Seeing Night Sorrow, Enforcer Dong was very happy and very polite. Although Night Sorrow didn't work at Tianji Tower, his status had already surpassed Enforcer Dong's. Yin Shui and Jiao Qing had already informed him that Night Sorrow had become the focus of Black Group and asked him to pay attention to all information about Night Sorrow. In addition, if Night Sorrow had something to do, Tianji Tower's Dan Ding City also had to cooperate with him. Not bad. You've cultivated to the core condensation realm. The energy contained in your body is much stronger than before. Enforcer Dong said. I've had some breakthroughs recently. Night Sorrow nodded. Tianji Tower already knows what the Ji family did in Juyuan Town. If the Ji family comes to Medicine Valley again, they will be expelled. Enforcer Dong said to Night Sorrow. So, this is the order from Tianji Tower? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. Yes, it's the order from the headquarters. Originally, the Ji family was still lingering around this area. They were looking for our young miss, but because they had crossed the line in Bamboo Garden Town, the higher-ups ordered them to leave this area. They should know that they can't touch Bamboo Garden Town, Enforcer Dong said. I understand. If you have the chance, please express my gratitude for me. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to Enforcer Dong. No problem. I'll report the situation here in detail. If you need any help, just let me know. Enforcer Dong said to Night Sorrow. How about this? Tianji Tower is well informed. As long as the Sikong family and the Jiyu family come to Eastern Xian Domain, can you inform me as soon as possible? Night Sorrow said. Yes, it's impossible for them to cross the domain without a word. Tianji Tower will know immediately. I'll inform the higher-ups. Also, if you need anything, you can contact Lord Jiao Qing directly. Enforcer Dong said to Night Sorrow. Nothing. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't need to contact Lord Jiao Qing. He came here today to let Tianji Tower know about his progress. There was no other meaning. Of course, to know in advance that the Sikong family and the Jiyu family would come to Eastern Xian Domain was what Night Sorrow wanted. After leaving Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow and Yang Lei found a restaurant to eat. Danding City has stabilized. I can go back to Taishan Peak. If you have time, you can go to Ninth Senior Sister's place. Yang Lei poured a bowl of wine for Night Sorrow and said. Ninth Senior Sister is going back. I was planning to come over. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Don't you plan to continue to accompany your Chuyu? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to make such a decision. Yi Shang told him about his request at the Celestial Terminus Tower. That's right. You will be the first to know when people from the Jiyu family and the Sikong family come. This way, the Longquan courtyard will be relatively safe and suitable for cultivation. Yang Lei understood Night Sorrow's meaning. I see. If I need to go to Danding Cliff to cultivate, I will ride Tianyu back. The rest of the time, I plan to cultivate in the Longquan courtyard. Night Sorrow nodded. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation / Part 7_X, okay, I will send people to keep an eye out for outsiders. As long as outsiders come to Danding City, they will inform us immediately. Then, Sikong family's safety will be no problem. Also, I will ask 6th Senior Sister to come over and set up some formations around the Longquan courtyard. Then, nothing will go wrong. Yang Lei added. After eating with Yang Lei, Night Sorrow left. He planned to talk to Yu Yang Yu and then take Sikong Chuyu to the Longquan courtyard to cultivate. Most importantly, he wanted to continue to do missions. Silver missions aside, he could continue to sweep the bronze missions. Night Sorrow didn't say these words to anyone. Since there was a Heaven's Fate assessment, he would continue. He wanted to go to the Qingtian domain. Tianji Tower provided this opportunity, so he had to cherish it. Chapter 232. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After returning to the Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow immediately went to the Danding Hall. Other than the disciples on duty, Night Sorrow did not see anyone else in the Danding Hall. After asking around, Night Sorrow found out that Yu Yang Yu did not come today. Night Sorrow then went to Yu Yang Yu's residence, a quaint attic on Danding Peak. When Night Sorrow arrived, Yu Yang Yu was meditating. Greetings, Master. Night Sorrow bowed slightly. Have a seat. Yu Yang Yu opened his eyes and pointed to a futon beside him. Night Sorrow nodded and sat down cross-legged. You haven't been here for a few days. You look good and your foundation is solid. Yu Yang Yu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Master, you're not angry? Night Sorrow was already prepared to be scolded by Yu Yang Yu. Do you think that if your senior brothers and sisters scolded you, I will scold you as well? Actually, that's not the case. On the path of cultivation, the master is just a guide. Everyone's situation is different. The one who understands the situation the best is still yourself. If you try to break through, I will think that you have confidence. Walk your own path and don't mind what others say. Love go little say Wang, Yu Yang Yu said with a smile. He could see that Night Sorrow was being reserved. Yu Yang Yu valued being strong in front of opponents and humble in front of people around him. Night Sorrow not only respected him, but also respected every senior brother and sister. Yes, I can't continue to condense my chi. Instead of wasting time, I might as well break through. Night Sorrow nodded. That proves that you are not impulsive and reckless. Why don't you explain to your senior brothers and sisters? Yu Yang Yu asked. He knew Night Sorrow well. Night Sorrow was not the kind of person who would change his mind with just a few words. Night Sorrow looked at Yu Yangyu and thought for a while. No matter what senior brothers and sisters say, it's for my own good. Even if I feel that it's wrong, I can't refute it. Yu Yangyu nodded in satisfaction. It's right for you to think and do this. Regardless of whether it's right or wrong, you have to accept our kindness. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. Every time I accept a disciple, my heart is filled with worry. Every one of you is very determined, and your way of doing things is very different. I'm worried that you will have differences and affect the harmony and friendship. But no matter how many times I worry, it's unnecessary. No matter how different your personalities and beliefs are, you all place great importance on the friendship between senior brothers and sisters. This is what I am most gratified about. Yu Yangyu said with a smile. Night Sorrow's heart trembled. He could feel the good intentions behind Yu Yangyu's words. However, you have to remember the lessons of your predecessors. They are all words of experience. Yu Yangyu reminded Night Sorrow. After all, Night Sorrow was still young. I understand. Master, I plan to go to the Dragon Spring Courtyard to train. It's closer to Danding City, and I can do some missions when I have time. Night Sorrow said his purpose for coming here. Then what about Sikong? You can't just leave her at Bamboo Garden Peak, right? She's a good girl. Her cultivation, temperament, and figure are all excellent. She has a good temperament. She comes from a big family, but she's not arrogant. Her cultivation talent is also very frightening. Your senior brothers and senior sisters can't compare to her in terms of talent. Yu Yangyu said. He had a very high opinion of Sikong Chuyu. Yishang told Lu Yangyu what had happened this time. Lu Yangyu also knew about his situation in the Celestial Terminus Tower. If your safety is not a problem, then go. I will also be in seclusion for a while. Yu Yangyu nodded to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow bowed and left the pavilion. After listening to Yu Yangyu's words, he felt a lot better. After leaving Danding Peak, Night Sorrow rode on Tianyu to Taishian Hall. However, he missed again. He didn't see any senior brothers or sisters. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow came to the bamboo grove. When he arrived, Night Sorrow saw that Gong Xian, Wu Qi, Hua Nan, and Aoi were all drinking tea together. Senior brothers, you're all here? Yi Shan greeted them. Yes. If you have nothing to do, come sit with your sixth senior sister. Since you're back from Danding City, you can go visit Master later. Gong Xian pointed to an empty chair and said. After Night Sorrow sat down, he took a sip of tea from Aoi and said, Big senior brother, I just came back from Master's place. Then Master will inevitably reprimand you. Qing Ji said with some schadenfreude. Sixth junior sister, I think Master can't bear to scold 13. Hua Nan said with a smile. All of them loved Night Sorrow dearly. He knew that Yu Yangyu was the same. Tell me, did Master scold you? Wu Qi asked anxiously. Master said that everyone's path is different. Walk your own path and don't mind what others say. Night Sorrow repeated Yu Yangyu's words. Miss Qing choked on the mouthful of tea that she had just drunk. Cough. Pampering, Master is pampering me. If you pamper 13 so much, why didn't you pamper me before? After hearing Aoi's words, Gong Xian and the others laughed. Then, Gong Xian asked Night Sorrow about his next plan. Night Sorrow told him his plan. He would do missions in the first half of every month and return to Danding Cliff to cultivate in the second half. Okay, if anyone bullies you, come back and look for me. Gong Xian said. Sigh, another one who's willing to spoil. Big senior brother, you're making our other junior brothers and sisters feel bad. Aoi sighed and joked. Okay. Then I don't care. If 13 is bullied, you can deal with him. Gong Xian glanced at Aoi and said. After chatting for a while, they parted ways. Aoi told Gong Xian that she would bring her disciples to Longquan Courtyard. Night Sorrow rode Tianyu back to Bamboo Forest Peak. Seeing that Yi Shang had returned, Sikong Chuyu stopped cultivating her swordsmanship. While drinking tea, Night Sorrow told him his decision. Okay, does Longquan Courtyard have a room for me? Sikong Chuyu asked with a smile. Of course, your loft hasn't been moved. If you don't like it, you can move to the main building. Night Sorrow said. In your dreams. You're staying in the main building and you're asking me to move over. I didn't know you were so naughty. Sikong Chuyu said with a red face. After hearing Sikong Chuyu's words, Night Sorrow was stunned. He really didn't think so much. His original intention was that if Sikong Chuyu liked the main building, he could move out. Seeing that Night Sorrow was in a daze, Sikong Chuyu said in an almost inaudible voice, "What's wrong?" "I don't mean anything. I just feel that it's too awkward." Night Sorrow shook his head and hugged Sikong Chuyu. Chapter 233. Genius 1 second remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chuyu and helped him tidy up his hair that was messed up by the wind. When I'm qualified, I'll go and meet your parents. Don't worry, my parents don't care about family background. They said before that as long as I like it, they will like it, Sikong Chuyu said in a low voice. After tidying up, Night Sorrow took Sikong Chuyu and flew towards Danding City on Tianyu. Tianyu was completely different from a year ago. With a flap of his wings, he could travel hundreds of feet. Standing on Tianyu's back with Night Sorrow, Sikong Chuyu looked at Tianyu and said, "Night Sorrow, your Tianyu is very strong. Not long ago, he killed a peak rank 3 black iron python. It was a complete victory and there were no wounds on his body. He's much more ferocious than me." Night Sorrow said with a smile. When you were cultivating at Danding Cliff, Tianyu and I often went out for a walk with this little guy. I saw Tianyu kill many snakes and pythons and swallow their guts. That's why he grew so fast. The little guy Sikong Chuyu was talking about was the silver fox cub. The silver fox cub's size didn't change, but it was no longer weak. Its running speed was extremely fast. Ordinary small prey couldn't escape from its hunt. What's Tianyu's cultivation level now? Night Sorrow asked. All this time, he hadn't seen Tianyu's cultivation level clearly. In other words, Tianyu's cultivation level had always been much higher than his. Peak rank 5 core condensation realm. He's a talented demon beast. His cultivation speed is much faster than humans. They are all favored by the heavens. Now that he's flying, he's also absorbing the energy in the wind. Sikong Chuyu said. 5th level of the core condensation stage, how can it be so fast? Night Sorrow was stunned. The last time Tianyu had broken through to the element gathering tier was when he went to exterminate the mountain bandits. Not much time had passed since then. You can advance quickly, but Tianyu can't. If his bloodline awakens, then Tianyu's achievements will be immeasurable. There are many talented demonic beasts, but there are too few who possess the bloodline of ancient beasts. Not to mention, Tianyu possesses the bloodline of ancient Azure Pang and Black Huan, Sikong Chuyu explained to Night Sorrow. JX is the newest. KP on chapter, I know. I've read about it in the ancient records, but the higher the grade of the bloodline, the harder it is to awaken. I hope Tianyu's path will be smoother. Yi Shan looked down at Tianyu and said. Let's go, Yi Shan said as he looked down at Tianyu. In Night Sorrow's eyes, Tianyu wasn't a tamed beast, but rather a companion who had grown up with him. That's true. However, awakening his bloodline will be terrifying. Many of the top forces in the North Sea and the realm of unbounded desolation are formed by demonic beasts. Although their civilization isn't as advanced as that of other realms, the two realms have a fierce atmosphere. Many of their experts are demonic beasts, and possess formidable battle prowess. Sikong Chuyu said. So you're saying that the North Sea and the realm of unbounded desolation are dominated by demonic beasts? Night Sorrow asked in astonishment. Not exactly. There are still powerful human experts, but each of them occupies half of the world. After all, humans have a civilization of cultivation, which demonic beasts can't compete with. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Does the Tianji Tower have forces in the North Sea and the realm of unbounded desolation? Night Sorrow asked. Of course they do, Sikong Chuyu explained to Night Sorrow. It's all thanks to the seniors of the Tianji Tower. According to historical records, the seniors of the Tianji Tower once fought with the powerful demonic beasts of the two realms. After the battle, the demonic beasts retreated, allowing the Tianji Tower's forces to expand into the two realms. Furthermore, the demonic beasts weren't allowed to provoke the Tianji Tower's forces. Night Sorrow nodded. He could imagine how fierce the battle had been, and how mighty the seniors of the Tianji Tower had been. As they chatted, the two of them arrived at the Dragon Spring courtyard. Night Sorrow asked Little Six to prepare some barbecued meat for Tianyu, and handed the silver fox cubs to Hai Luo and Luo Wei. Then, he accompanied Sikong Chuyu to check out the rooms. Everything is still the same. Nothing has changed. It seems like you were planning to wait for me to come back, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Of course. Danding City shouldn't be the target of the Ji clan and the Sikong clan. You should be safe now, Night Sorrow said. It's not as serious as you think. I just need to buy some time. Those uncles are no match for my father. After my father takes care of those people, no one in the Sikong clan will be able to force me to do something I don't want to do, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Yes, I hope Uncle can take care of these things smoothly, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry. Our clan's great ancestor likes me very much and supports my father. During this period of time, our great ancestor has been in seclusion. Therefore, some of the clan's elders have begun to get restless and want to support some of their favorite successors. Without our great ancestor's support, my father is not someone they can defeat. When our great ancestor comes out of seclusion, the result will be obvious, Sikong Chuyu said confidently. Just as Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu were chatting, someone arrived at the Dragon Spring courtyard. It was Yang Lei and her disciples. He Miao, Xiang Ding, didn't you all want to see your 13th martial uncle? Now that you've seen him, hurry up and greet him, Yang Lei shouted at the disciples behind her. Disciple He Miao greets 13th martial uncle. He Miao, who was wearing the uniform of an elite disciple of the Medicine Valley, bowed and said. Disciple Xiang Ding greets 13th martial uncle. The dignified Xiang Ding cupped his fists and said. He was the guy who had angered Yi Xiling back then. No need to be so polite. Zimming, arrange a place for them to stay, Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei's eldest disciple, Jiang Zimming. All of you, listen up. This is your 13th martial uncle's private courtyard. Because of the natural formation, cultivating here is twice the result with half the effort. If you all make this place look like a pigsty, then scram as soon as possible, Yang Lei shouted at her disciples. Ninth senior sister, it's fine. Don't scare them, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Don't worry, 13th martial uncle. We will definitely be self-disciplined. I admire 13th martial uncle the most, He Miao said with a smile. Alright, let's go and have some tea. Let them tidy up themselves. Yang Lei put her arm around Night Sorrow's shoulder and walked towards the main hall of the main building. Night Sorrow turned around and nodded at Jiang Zimming, He Miao, and Xiang Ding before following Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu to the main hall. Eldest senior brother, what's going on? Master is so fierce, but he's on such good terms with 13th martial uncle now? He Miao asked as he watched Yang Lei and Night Sorrow leave with their arms around each other's shoulders. Currently, under Yang Lei's tutelage, Jiang Zimming was the eldest senior brother. He Miao was the second disciple, and Xiang Ding was the sixth. There were some people who were older than Jiang Zimming, but they weren't from the same batch. They could only obediently be the younger ones. I feel that their relationship isn't ordinary, another disciple said. Chapter 234. Genius 1 second remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Are you tired of living? You dare to talk about master? Jiang Ziming was furious and glared at them. Seeing Jiang Ziming's anger, he meowed and the others didn't dare to say anything. Yang Lei returned to the courtyard's hall and sat down. 13. Sikong, don't worry. There are no problems with the disciples I brought. After they entered the sect carefully investigated their backgrounds. Su Chenbai's matter won't happen. I also warned them that without my orders, they are not allowed to take half a step out of the courtyard. It's fine as long as senior apprentice sister has arranged it. Night Sorrow nodded. He was also worried about this problem. Even if Yang Lei didn't mention it, he would have stressed this problem. At night, Aoi came and brought the disciples with her. She also planned to stay in the Longquan courtyard for a long time. She also told Night Sorrow about the disciples. At night, Sikong Chuyu and Night Sorrow stood by Skywater Lake, enjoying the tranquility. Night Sorrow, Sikong Chuyu muttered as he leaned on Night Sorrow's shoulder. I'm listening. Go on. Night Sorrow reached out to support Sikong Chuyu's waist. What if there are women who like you in the future? Sikong Chuyu whispered. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs.com. No, I'm poor. No one will like me. Night Sorrow patted Sikong Chuyu's shoulder. You can't see your own merits, but others can. Sikong Chuyu shook his head. But the one I like is you. Night Sorrow seriously looked at Sikong Chuyu. I understand. I'm not an unreasonable person. I just hope that no matter what happens, you won't forget your original intentions. Sikong Chuyu said. Chuyu, what's wrong? I feel like something's wrong with you. Night Sorrow said using Sikong Chuyu. No, I'm very happy after hearing what you said. Sikong Chuyu smiled. And, don't think too much. Night Sorrow lightly patted Sikong Chuyu's shoulder and then sent Sikong Chuyu back to the pavilion before returning to the main building to cultivate. Night Sorrow didn't feel anything, but Sikong Chuyu was sensitive. She felt that Yang Lei and Night Sorrow's relationship. That was why she said words today. In this world where the strong were respected, many men had 3 wives and 4 concubines, especially outstanding men. In the Sikong family, there were many men who married many women. Sikong Chuyu also had a few concubines, but his father and mother were very close. In addition, Ji Yuhao also had a few wives, and he also shamelessly came to the Sikong family to propose marriage. Sikong Chuyu didn't reject Night Sorrow's relationship with other women, but he was a little worried. After returning to his room, Night Sorrow ate a top-grade spirit congealing pill and a leopard embryo muscle strengthening pill and began cultivating. He was now different from before. Previously, when his Zhenqi reached the first level of advancement, he didn't dare to cultivate quickly because he was worried that his foundation would be unstable. Now, this problem didn't exist. While Yi Shang was cultivating, Eastern Xian region, Jiao Qing was handing a letter to Yin Shui in a room in the headquarters of the Heaven's Terminus Tower in Dongxian City. Yin Shui was sitting opposite and to her side. Yin Shui opened the letter and read it, then nodded. Continue to pay attention. Arrange for more spies to pay attention to the Realm Sea tomorrow. If people from the Ji Yu family and Sikong family come, notify him immediately. This subordinate understands. Jiao Qing nodded. What's wrong? A letter from the Medicine Valley branch? Asked an old man. Take a look at the letter. The tower master isn't here, so let's discuss this matter and see what we can do. Yin Shui handed the letter to the old man with black and white hair. Ordinary people would have black and white hair when they grew old, but this old man didn't. He had a lock of white hair in his black hair. He was Lei Hua, the deputy tower master of the Tianji Tower. After reading the letter, Lei Hua handed it to another middle-aged man. Ho Yuan, take a look. The middle-aged man took the letter and looked at it, then nodded. In less than a year and a half, he entered the core condensation stage. He has an extremely strong ability to fight above his level, can refine pills, and has a strong body. This little guy is not bad. The man called Ho Yuan by Lei Hua said. +1 star? Yin Shui asked. This king has no objection. Lei Hua said. 6e, original O first E 7-inch of course. Why are you looking at me like that? Although he's not from the Holy Light religion, do I look like someone who ignores and suppresses talents? Ho Yuan said with a frown. I know you're not. Why are you so nervous? Yin Shui said. That look in your eyes just now means that you are. Ho Yuan looked at Yin Shui and said. Well, Eastern Xian domain has 3 people who entered the heavenly rank assessment. It's time to report this. Lei Hua said. Yes, in the past, every domain had super geniuses. Now, our Eastern Xian domain has one too. Yin Shui exhaled and said. Eastern Xian domain's 3 people who entered the heavenly rank assessment are all 1 star. Let's see who will have higher achievements in the future. Ho Yuan looked at Zhao Qing. Elder Ho, why are you looking at me like that? Your Holy Light religion's holy son is strong, but my Southern Dipper sect's Nan Liue isn't weak either. Zhao Qing said. Zhao Qing was a protector. His position was lower than Lei Hua, Ho Yuan, and Yin Shui. However, Ho Yuan's eyes were somewhat provocative, so he directly spoke. You don't participate in the management of your respective forces. Why are you fighting over this matter? Lei Hua directly interrupted. You can fight. This king will continue to watch the show. However, this king is optimistic about Night Sorrow. Yin Shui said with a smile. Not to mention the Holy Light religion's holy son, Southern Dipper sect's Nan Liue has entered the 4th stage for some time, right? Why do you think so highly of him? Ho Yuan said. It's because his cultivation is low that this king is optimistic about him. All 3 of them are 1 star in the heavenly rank assessment. Who do you think has more room for improvement? Night Sorrow entered the gold token before the 3rd stage, so he needs to be given extra stars. If he enters the 4th stage within 2 years, you still need to give him extra stars. Can these 2 do it? Yin Shui said as she counted with her fingers. Hee, head protector, don't provoke people. However, before the 3rd stage, the 2 from Holy Light religion and Southern Dipper sect aren't as dazzling as him. Lei Hua said. Ho Yuan and Zhao Qing didn't say anything. This was because the person they thought highly of didn't have such deep qualifications at Night Sorrow's stage. This was equivalent to losing a part of the opportunity in the heavenly rank assessment. It depends on whether he can grasp it. If he can't grasp it, then he will lose a lot of opportunities to increase his qualifications. Lei Hua said. He can definitely grasp it. This guy has a pure heart, pure and persistent. If this king is not wrong, he will continue to sweep the floor after entering the 3rd stage. At that time, you just need to wait for more stars. Yin Shui said after thinking for a while. Chapter 235. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. We're all members of Tianji Tower. What's the point of being territorial? You're so narrow-minded. Yin Shui glanced at Ho Yuan and said. All right, Zhao Qing, you're currently in charge of the Medicine Valley. Pay attention to the situation. We're not interested in the small fights between those forces, but we can't allow anyone to touch our Tianji Tower's members, Lei Hua said to Zhao Qing. I understand. Zhao Qing nodded. Elder Ho, you're in charge of the Realm C. If the Jiyu clan and the Sikong clan come again, inform Night Sorrow that if they enter the Medicine Valley, kill the leader immediately, Lei Hua said. Understood. Ho Yuan nodded. Then, they parted ways. Tianji Tower had a strict system. Its members came from all over the place, but Tianji Tower's interests were paramount. When it came to Tianji Tower's interests, they had to give way. Night Sorrow cultivated his true qi and the myriad Taoist tome for the whole night. After waking up, he went to the training field to practice his spear art. Some time ago, he worked hard to increase the number of vibrational forces. He had already reached the limit of 66 vibrational forces. Now, his cultivation direction was to make the vibrational force smoother. Night Sorrow could use 45 vibrational forces at will. After advancing to the core formation realm, Night Sorrow could use 66 vibrational forces. However, using them and exerting their power were two different things. Night Sorrow wanted to maximize the power of these 66 vibrational forces. The reincarnation spear, which carried vibrational forces, made a buzzing sound when it was waved. The afterimages of the spear were everywhere. Yang Lei's hands were itchy, so she went to fight with Night Sorrow. With an opponent, Night Sorrow could feel the vibrational force more clearly. Every time their weapons clashed, Yang Lei's long sword would be knocked away. This was because Yang Lei used her true qi to block it. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to hold her weapon. Night Sorrow wasn't like before, where he couldn't even last a quarter of an hour. Now, his Jin Qi and the energy in his body were much stronger than before, so his fighting strength was also much stronger. The intensity of the sparring between the two also increased. Seeing that Night Sorrow was able to resist, Yang Lei also increased the intensity of her true energy. Every time the black long sword was swung, there would be the sound of it breaking through the air. In the beginning, when Night Sorrow attacked, Yang Lei just stood there and waved her sword. Following Yang Lei's counterattack, Night Sorrow had to rely on his footwork to deflect the force and then look for an opportunity to continue attacking. When Night Sorrow used his footwork, Yang Lei also used her footwork and chased after Night Sorrow. Their bodies flashed back and forth in the training field. This kind of high-intensity sparring continued for more than an hour. When Yang Lei saw that Night Sorrow's energy consumption wasn't that great, she immediately increased her strength. If there was no pressure, then there would be no meaning in sparring. Ai go shao shua 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 w, ai chu x. As Yang Lei increased her strength, Night Sorrow found it harder to resist. His speed wasn't as fast as Yang Lei's, and the intensity of his attacks wasn't as high as Yang Lei's. He could only use the energy of the myriad Tao Tome and his true qi to resist Yang Lei's attacks. 2 hours later, Night Sorrow once again blocked Yang Lei's sword and retreated to the side. I can't do it anymore. If you can do it again, then I won't be able to do it anymore. Yang Lei said as she wiped her sweat. Sikong Chuyu brought over some tea. Everyone is tired, come and drink some water. Thank you. Night Sorrow said as he took the cup and drank a mouthful of water. Io, thank you. There's no need to be so polite between the two of you. Yang Lei said with a smile. Yang Lei's words made Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu feel awkward. Did you see that? This is your 13th uncle's cultivation method. Aoi said to her and Yang Lei's disciples. Disciple understands. All the third-generation disciples bowed and nodded. After drinking a cup of water, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu went to Skywater Lake for a stroll. He didn't cultivate immediately after sparring like before. Now, he wanted to spend more time with Sikong Chuyu. After eating lunch, Night Sorrow returned to his room to cultivate. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, Yang Lei and Aoi's disciples suffered. Both of them were holding vines in their hands. During dinner, Night Sorrow saw that Yang Lei and Aoi's disciples were standing while eating. He asked, why aren't you sitting down? 6 milligrams, forever, free. Our look/Shao 8p talk, they can't sit anymore. Their butts couldn't even escape from 6th senior sister and 9th senior sister's vines. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. They were taught a lesson too. Night Sorrow pointed at He Miao and the other 2 female disciples and asked. Sikong Chuyu nodded. She had been watching the entire afternoon. 6th senior sister, 9th senior sister, isn't this too cruel? Night Sorrow asked. Cruel? Not at all. Let me put it this way. From the second to the third generation of our master's disciples, you're the only one who hasn't been taught a lesson. Your sixth senior sister and I have been taught a lesson, but not as much as the other senior brothers and juniors. Yang Lei said. Yeah, we were young and playful back then. Master taught us a lesson with vines. Third senior brother was the least taught a lesson. Aoi said with a smile. Among us senior brothers and sisters, apart from you, third senior brother is the most hardworking. That time, when we went to the bamboo forest peak to play together, we were beaten up by Master together, Yang Lei added. That's why this is the tradition of Taishan Peak. If you don't want to be bullied, you have to work hard. Aoi said. After hearing Aoi's words, the third generation disciples stood up straight. Originally, I wanted to ask for mercy on your behalf, but now I can't. Let's not care about talent. As long as you work hard, even if you don't succeed in the future, you don't have to regret it. Night Sorrow said. Thank you for your teaching, 13th uncle. Xiang Ding shouted. Can you lower your voice? Xiang Ding's shout almost made Qing Ji, who was still reminiscing about the past, unable to hold the chopsticks in her hand. Afterwards, Aoi waved her hand and told everyone to continue eating. For the next few days, Night Sorrow practiced the basics every night. During the day, he practiced his spear arts, killing fist, and Jinyu hand. Yang Lei told Night Sorrow that he could now practice the second stage of covering heaven hand. However, Night Sorrow wanted to wait until the myriad Tao Tome reached the third stage of bone tempering before practicing the second stage of covering heaven hand. On this day, Night Sorrow said goodbye to Yang Lei, Aoi, and Sikong Chuyu and went to Danding City. Today was the beginning of the month. Night Sorrow planned to continue clearing missions. He wanted to accumulate combat experience and improve his qualifications in Tianji Tower. With Yang Lei's protection, Night Sorrow could fly his Tianyu around Danding City and arrive at Tianji Tower a little earlier. Tianji Tower was not open yet. Night Sorrow waited at the entrance. As time passed, more and more people gathered at the entrance of Tianji Tower. Many of them were members of Medicine Valley. There were also some rogue cultivators. When the disciples of Medicine Valley saw Night Sorrow, they all greeted him, including the two core condensation disciples. Even though their cultivation was high, their seniority was lower than Night Sorrow's. They also knew that although Night Sorrow had just entered the core condensation stage, his combat ability could not be judged by his cultivation. When the Tianji Tower opened, Enforcer Dong, who was standing in the middle of the lobby, saw Night Sorrow. He was obviously surprised, but then he personally went to greet him. With the mission list in hand, Night Sorrow took the majority of the bronze mission points. He also accepted a few simple silver missions before leaving the Empyrean Terminus Tower. Chapter 236. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. The Tianji Tower's headquarters in Eastern Xian region had already ordered Enforcer Dong to report everything related to Night Sorrow to the higher-ups. Night Sorrow had come for a sweeping mission again, and Enforcer Dong had to report it to the higher-ups. The Tianji Tower's headquarters in Eastern Xian region was located in Eastern Xian City. However, it was very fast to transmit information back and forth because the Tianji Tower had a sky peak bird that could transmit information. Eastern Xian City was the number 1 city in Eastern Xian region. It didn't belong to any faction. Of course, ordinary factions couldn't establish themselves here. There was a special system here. Very few people knew who the city lord of the number 1 city in Eastern Xian region was. The deputy city lord and the elders were all highly respected elders in Eastern Xian region. Under them were the enforcers, and so on. The order in the city was maintained by these people. These administrators came from all over Eastern Xian region. Some were from the 7 superpowers, and some were rogue cultivators. However, no one dared to run amok just because they held an official position in Eastern Xian City. Once they crossed the line, not only would they be removed from their position, they might even be beheaded. Eastern Xian City had a troop of iron guards called the Eastern Xian Iron Guards. They only obeyed the orders of the city lord, and their duty was to supervise all the officials in Eastern Xian City. If they violated the iron rules set by Eastern Xian City, they would be beheaded. However, to be an official in Eastern Xian City, there must be great benefits. Even if they didn't use their power, many people would give them face, and the development of their family or faction would be smooth. Love Go Little Say Webka Medicine Valley also had a branch in Eastern Xian City that dealt in the ordinary elixir business. Under the 7 superpowers, there were countless first-class forces. Medicine Valley's strength was nothing in Eastern Xian City. They relied on the good reputation of their elixirs to establish themselves in Eastern Xian City. This was also the reputation that Medicine Valley had accumulated over the years, and could be considered as their foundation. Night Sorrow had a flying demonic beast, so he could sweep away the bronze missions easily. The 2 silver missions didn't take much effort. After 6 days, Night Sorrow returned and handed in all the missions. The only genuine copy, the others are pirated copies. After handing in the quest, Night Sorrow returned to the Longquan courtyard. "How many quests did you do?" Aoi asked when she saw Night Sorrow. 7 or 8. "Not bad," Night Sorrow said. "The promotion of the silver token is rather difficult. It requires the accumulation of many missions. Take your time." Sikong Chiu walked over with the silver fox cub. "Love Go Little Say Ku, I understand. I'll accumulate a few more times and my points will increase," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "It would be great if there was an unlimited mission. That kind of top-level mission would give a frightening amount of points," Sikong Chiu said. "The probability of that mission appearing is too low. I've been doing Tianji Tower missions for several years, and I've only heard of it once, but no one has ever completed it," Yang Lei said as she walked over. "What's an unrestricted quest?" Night Sorrow asked. Sikong Chiu then explained it to Night Sorrow. An unrestricted quest was a quest that surpassed the gold level. There was no level restriction for this type of quest. Anyone with a Tianji Tower token could accept it. However, the difficulty was quite high. It required strength and luck. Otherwise, all the members of Tianji Tower would not be mobilized. With a Tianji Tower token, one was considered a member of Tianji Tower. Of course, they were not part of the establishment. They were not even considered part of the periphery. That depends on luck. "Maybe when my luck comes, an unrestricted quest will be issued," Night Sorrow said with a smile. After eating, Night Sorrow greeted the others and rode Tianyu to Danding Cliff to cultivate. He wasn't in a hurry to raise his true qi, but he was in a hurry to raise the level of the myriad Daos tome and enter the bone-forging realm. That way, his combat ability would increase greatly. After returning to Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow did not go to Taishan Peak. Instead, he went directly to Danding Cliff. "Night Sorrow, you're here," Elder Su greeted Night Sorrow. "Yes. Greetings, Elder." Night Sorrow bowed to Elder Su. "Go." Elder Su nodded to Night Sorrow. "There's something else I need to trouble Elder Su. Tianyu doesn't like to be in the beast-taming space. I'll leave it here. Can I trouble Elder Su to feed it a beast vitality pill every day?" Night Sorrow asked. "That won't be a problem, don't worry." Elder Su really liked Yi Shang's attitude towards Tianyu. After giving Elder Su a bottle of beast vitality pills and communicating with Tianyu, Night Sorrow went to Danding Cliff to cultivate. Night Sorrow planned to improve his alchemy level when he had time. This matter was also urgent for him. For qi cultivation, he used the soul gathering pill when he was in the 2nd stage and the spirit congealing pill when he was in the 3rd stage. Night Sorrow had the spirit congealing pill. The best quality spirit congealing pill funded by Tianji Tower was enough for him. However, he had to find his own way to cultivate the myriad Tao tome. The leopard embryo muscle strengthening pill was enough for Night Sorrow. Most of the energy he used to cultivate the myriad Tao tome was cultivated at Danding Cliff, which saved him a lot of pills. However, when he entered the third stage of the myriad Tao tome, he needed to change to auxiliary pills. Night Sorrow already had the pill recipe. He found it in Feng Chen's alchemy manual. It was called the Dragon Bone Forging Pill. The Dragon Bone Forging Pill was not the pill recipe that Feng Chen had. It was one of the ancient recipes that he had collected. This pill was used to repair and strengthen bones. It was a third-stage pill. Night Sorrow did not know if the Dragon Bone Forging Pill was suitable for cultivating the myriad Tao tome. However, at present, he only had this choice. He did not know if it would succeed. The Dragon Bone Forging Pill was a good pill. Even if it was not particularly suitable for auxiliary cultivation, it could still provide Night Sorrow with the energy to cultivate the myriad Tao tome. This pill was used to heal broken bones. It definitely needed the energy to have bones. The difficulty was to obtain the bones of the fourth stage Ice Flood Dragon, which was the main ingredient. In the eastern Xian domain, the Ice Flood Dragon could only be found in the eastern snow mountain of the easternmost icefield. That place was very far away from the Medicine Valley. It was millions of miles away. If Night Sorrow wanted to go there, even if Tianyu's cultivation base increased and his flying speed increased, it would still take at least 2 months. This matter was imperative for Night Sorrow. Because of the great danger, Night Sorrow did not mention it to anyone. He planned to enter the bone forging realm before going. This time, Night Sorrow flew up Danding Cliff. When he reached the 5,300-meter mark, he began to meditate and cultivate. Lin Tianjue sat a short distance above Night Sorrow's head. Looking at Night Sorrow's figure, Lin Tianjue's eyes flashed with killing intent. Last time, because of Night Sorrow, he had lost a lot of face. Others did not care about this matter, but he did not dare to express it. The difference in cultivation between the two was huge. However, their statuses in the Medicine Valley were completely different. Even though Lin Tianjue was on the elixir list, his treatment was not as good as Night Sorrow's. Night Sorrow was a heaven-grade disciple. On the 7th day of Night Sorrow's cultivation, Yang Lei appeared. She rode the green condor to the height of Night Sorrow's cultivation. 13. Come down quickly. I have something to tell you. Standing on the green condor, Yang Lei waved at Night Sorrow. Chapter 237. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Here's a mission. It's really strange. That day, I mentioned to you about the unlimited task, and now Tianji Tower is really releasing it. Yang Lei controlled the green condor to land on the ground. The two of them wanted to leave, but they had to inform Elder Su first. Besides, Night Sorrow's Tianyu was still lying on the side. Old 9. You need to change your fiery temper. You need to be more stable, Elder Su said to Yang Lei with a smile. Yang Lei was currently the youngest elder in the Medicine Valley, so the older generation liked to call her Old 9. Elder Su, you know that this is my personality. It's hard to change it. This is my nature. Yang Lei said helplessly. All right. If someone else had such a personality, they probably wouldn't have any future in cultivation. But you. I just can't understand you. Elder Su shook his head helplessly. The temperament of a cultivator was very important. It directly affected one's state of mind and could even determine the level of one's achievements. Normally, if one had a calm temperament, their state of mind would be stable, and their future achievements would be high. However, Yang Lei was completely different. Elder Su, I'll head back first. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Elder Su after calling out to Tianyu. Go. Elder Su smiled and nodded at Night Sorrow. Love go little say Night Sorrow and Yang Lei rode the green condor and Tianyu away from Danding Cliff. Not far from Danding Cliff, Yang Lei leaped and landed on Tianyu's back. 13. You're in good spirits. K edition first. X hair. J, thank goodness, 9th senior sister, you haven't told me what the mission is. Night Sorrow asked. This quest is very difficult. We need to go to the eastern ice field to find the ice spirit well and the ice spirit blood essence. This quest is very difficult, but we still need to try our luck, Yang Lei said. You mean to go to the eastern ice field? Night Sorrow looked at Yang Lei in surprise. How come you know about the eastern ice field? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow with a puzzled expression. The eastern ice field was very far away from the Medicine Valley. It was a dangerous place. The temperature there was very low. Ordinary third-stage cultivators couldn't enter the core area because they didn't have protective chi to resist the cold. I plan to make a trip to the eastern ice field. Even without this unrestricted quest, I would still go, Night Sorrow said. If you want to go to the eastern ice field, then you have something to do. What kind of lousy business do you have that you need to go so far? Yang Lei knew Night Sorrow. If there wasn't anything urgent, Night Sorrow wouldn't stop cultivating and go out. I want to hunt the ice jiao. I need the ice jiao's bones to refine medicinal pills, Night Sorrow said his plan. Yang Lei didn't continue to ask. She already understood. Night Sorrow needed medicinal pills to strengthen his body. She and Aoi both knew that Night Sorrow needed the blood of the golden silk leopard to refine the leopard embryo muscle strengthening pill. Now that his body strength had increased, it was normal to change the medicine. It was just like the second stage true chi cultivation needed the soul gathering pill and the third stage true chi cultivation needed the spirit congealing pill. Are there many people in the Medicine Valley who want to take this mission? Night Sorrow asked. A lot of people. How many people would go? The environment of the eastern ice field is too dangerous. Not many people are willing to go. Your 6th senior sister and 11th senior brother don't plan to go. I plan to go and have a look, so I came to call you. Yang Lei said. Even if we don't talk about this unlimited quest, I'm still going, Night Sorrow said. Let's not talk about points for now. The reward for this mission is good stuff. It's the Clear Void Pill and the Great Void Pill. There's also a weapon, a Tier 5 weapon. Yang Lei opened her mouth and said. I'm sorry, Yang Lei said. I know about the tiers of pills, but what about Tier 5 weapons? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. Since you haven't come into contact with these things yet, I'll explain it to you. Yang Lei sat down and explained to Night Sorrow. Pills were divided into tiers. A cultivator would use pills of that tier depending on their tier. If a low-tier cultivator used a high-tier pill, the consequences would be very serious. Weapons were also divided into tiers, but it wasn't as strict as pills. A Tier 1 cultivator could use a Tier 2 weapon, but they could also use a Tier 3 or Tier 4 weapon. However, it wouldn't work the other way around. Once a Tier 5 cultivator used a Tier 4 or Tier 3 weapon, the weapon wouldn't be able to withstand the cultivator's true chi. It would be damaged and explode. Then senior sister, what's the tier of my weapon? Night Sorrow took out the reincarnation spear and asked. Your reincarnation spear was refined by Master using many of the best materials in the Medicine Valley. Its tier won't be low. As for what tier it is, you'll have to experience it yourself. You're now Tier 3, and the reincarnation spear can withstand the impact of all your energy. This means that it's at least Tier 3. The weapon was made for you, so only you know best, Yang Lei said. So you're saying that if I reach Tier 4, the reincarnation spear will have to be replaced if it can't withstand my true chi and body's energy? Night Sorrow frowned. He wasn't willing to accept this situation. Don't worry. Master used many of his treasures to forge the reincarnation spear for you. It's at least a Tier 4 weapon. Other than that, the weapon can also automatically upgrade. After a long period of infusion and nourishment by the Master's true chi, a Tier 4 weapon can be upgraded to Tier 5. Yang Lei saw through Night Sorrow's worries. If Tier 5 weapons are rare, then wouldn't Tier 6 weapons be even rarer? Night Sorrow thought for a moment and asked. Of course, they're very rare. Tier 6 weapons are spiritual weapons. The 8-dragon cauldron in the Medicine Valley is a spiritual weapon, and it's even a high-tier spiritual weapon, Yang Lei explained to Night Sorrow. Weapons of each tier were divided into 3 grades. The first 3 grades of each tier were the early stage. For example, the first 3 grades of the spirit severing stage were the early stage. The middle 4 to 6 grades were the middle stage, and the 7th to 9th grades were the late stage. The first 3 grades of the Venerable Realm were the early stage of the Venerable Realm, and their corresponding weapons were low-tier spiritual weapons. The middle stage of the Venerable Realm used medium-tier spiritual weapons, and the late stage of the Venerable Realm used high-tier spiritual weapons. The 8-dragon cauldron in the Medicine Valley was a high-tier spiritual weapon, so it was difficult for Hua Yunpeng to fully activate it. I understand. It seems that the weapon reward this time is very important to 9th senior sister, Night Sorrow said. If it's an ordinary tier 5 weapon, I really don't care, but it's a tier 5 weapon, the Thunder Sword. Even an early stage of the Venerable Realm can use it, Yang Lei said. I see. Then let's try our luck, Night Sorrow said. Well, my black iron sword can't keep up with the pace, so it needs to be replaced. Yang Lei nodded. Then let's go back and prepare, and then we'll set off, Night Sorrow said. Okay, you have to tell your little lover not to let them worry. In addition, we have to speed up. After all, those who go first have the upper hand. In addition, battles are inevitable, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow could understand this point. This time, all the forces in the Eastern Profound Domain would gather in the Eastern Icefield. It would be strange if there were no battles. There would be battles, and they would be very fierce. You're tuning into the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.